Oh, what am I doing here? What am I still playing? There we go. Oh my god. Let's see all messages. Make sure that's good. There we go. Actually, okay, there we go. Let's start that. There we go. All right.
Andrew.
What?
This will be more Taliban content.
Even though that's India, not.
It doesn't matter. That's actually Sikhs.
Well, they're Sikhs. Well, yeah. Well,
That's like a mix. They're all over.
I know.
They're in Pakistan. It's a religious thing. That's fucking hilarious, dude, to me. They're taking over, bro. That's in New York. Get out the way, Vito.
Well, for real, Vito's kind of being a destructive bastard right now.
Oh.
No, he's fine. I mean, I'll just leave the door open and crack. Alright, get this all loaded up. Finally. All that good shit. Alright, there we go. Oh, look, the little communist dirtbag is back sent for China. Aww. That's so cute. I didn't even do anything yet. We're barely 3 minutes on stream and somebody's already pissed off. Just my virtue of the existence angers you. I mean, good. But here, we'll just do that for right now because meh. I'm bored of you already. I like literally want to wait like 5 minutes before we can jump into it. Okay, how about that? How doing? Pretty good. Sam, your only comment, but I love your hat. You're not my only comment. There's been a few other people, but okay. Sheets and booty? No. I'm not going to do that. What did I do? You didn't do what? You didn't do anything. I was literally referring to somebody else. George Washington died for your sins? Okay. Is he like Jesus now? Is this your life? At the moment in this current time at night, yes. How'd your day go? Pretty good. More of a steadier day at work and shit. Not so slammed and fucked, but more consistent though. Just say hello to my friend. Yeah, sure. I'm 100% sure that, that's your friend's name. Ooh, so many buttons. I know, right? It's my little armored punk hat, basically. I have slowly but surely added bits of very thin aluminum armor and tin armor on it that are all these pins. What's your favorite beer? Uh, honestly, any of them that just taste pretty decent and pretty good. I mean, because there's a lot of like breweries that make some really good shit and it's pretty, gross stuff sometimes. At least stuff that I don't personally like. But at least for all intents and purposes, I mean, at least as a go-to, I wouldn't necessarily call it my favorite, but at least as a go-to would be Beer Hugs. My Goose Hall and Brewing. You pooping? Why would I be doing that on my bed? Why would I do that? Does this look like a bathroom? That's nasty. Yeah, that is a little bit. No one needs to know that you're doing that, my guy. In fact, I'm just going to remove that specific comment. You're not being timed out, but just we don't need to know that. Like, bruh, come on. Life pen or a cap, sir? Well, thank you. I mean, well, to be fair, which one? I'm assuming the one that's like stuck on this one right here. With these three little doggos holding and playing with a chopstick. Oh, you're Swedish. No, but I do have Norwegian in me. And a little like Frisian and Danish. So I got a little bit of Nordic. Why don't you say hello to my friend? Because that's a Ligma that's so fucking obvious, I'm not even going to entertain it. I'm the master of Ligmas up in this bitch, and you are not... You're, like, literally down here. You need to master the Ligmas by... Number one, just start off with Hue. Don't put the ass in there. Now it's just too obvious. Like, there's a whole strategy to Ligmas, and I swear to God, no one ever knows what it is. Okay, I will grant that this guy, at least, with that Syndrome one, that one, at least, is a clever one. You gay. I'm only half gay there, buddy. That's what we're talking about, guys. People just trolling right now, I guess. I have no idea. It's just... I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this shit. Like, straight up. I mean, I just, like, legit, like, get into the whole, like, Art of Ligma stuff so much, I'm not repeating it right now. Just call them lesbian. I mean, that works too, I guess. Oh my god. You know what? I'm going to do this. We're doing this, actually, because this is just absurd. I'm going to do a slow-mo, at least. We're starting off of that shit. No, not 60 seconds. We'll do it for 10. Now, 1 minute and 1 second. Oh my fucking god, dude. This... Come on. I said not... Ugh. What the fuck? Okay, there we go. I think that should be it. 10 minutes and 40 seconds? Jesus fucking Christ. Come on. Okay, there we go. That should be good. There we go. I'm a skinhead. You know that, like, there are two variations of skinhead, right? You got redneck skins, which they usually are bald, not, like, got hair, usually. And then you have, punk skins, like OG skins that, came from, like, the east side, like, of Jersey and New York, where they're Nazi bashing skins, where they actually, retake the whole terminology initially with the virtue of saying, hey, a real skin is against, the prejudice, is against, the bigotry. Like, we're here, like, because we're called skinheads because we're bald headed. We're punks that happen to literally just have skin on our head instead of hair. That's what it originally meant. But the Nazi side appropriated it as their own little fucking thing. You need to get a job. I literally have one, you fucking retard. I got off of work and now I'm doing this. Shocker. Sometimes people stream when they get off work and actually have a fucking life too. And what's hilarious is that this is also going to be a job too, since I am in the process of being monetized at the moment. So, I don't know. Not only do I have one, but two jobs. If you use the internet after work, you don't actually have a job. Yeah, 100%. If you use the internet and like stream or just, be active on social media, that actually means you don't have a job. Buddy, clean your room first. You don't even know what the fuck my room looks like, and as you can tell, the wall is pretty sparse. I don't have much shit in here. I have 3 jobs. No, you don't. If you did, you wouldn't be here wasting your fucking time because you would barely have any time to sleep, let alone fucking work all 3 of those jobs. Because I've actually had people that have worked 3 or more jobs before, and they literally have no time for recreation. If they do, that's basically taking away time from sleeping, or potentially even doing something like, homework and shit too. Because one of them that I knew who had 3 jobs was also still in high school at the time. So, So I know you're lying just off of that virtue alone. Maybe you have 4, you wouldn't have to be on the internet if it's jobless, folks. Yeah, because you wouldn't even be, you wouldn't even have time to sleep. You look and sound like Keith Sunderland. Smoke on, bro. Cool. Okay, Tay, I want no beef with you. Sorry. But you want beef with me. You want to beef with me, but not my mod? I want beef with you, though? I mean, yeah, you kind of did it to yourself. I'm not going to lie there, buddy. Just saying. Because I don't have to do anything, if I'm eventually just bored of this back and forth. Because I could literally just be like, I just want beef. I mean, beef can be pretty good. Misfortunes. Man, you can't even have a good insult. It's got the beef. Give me some beef. It's Pancho. Which honestly is such an unfortunate name because it kind of, the only thing I think of is Pancho Villa. The fucking, like kind of revolutionary hero of like, Chihuahua, of the state of Chihuahua and shit. And it's like, that's all I think of. Like the Centavo El Danote. I mean, I only think of his ass, when I think of Pancho. With the Villistas. Or a 10-inch BBC dildo. That sounds awesome. I mean, I should start adding that to my wish list because my haters start, like, oh, I should totally do that unironically, like have a wish list on Amazon or something. Full of stuff I actually want, but also just troll items too. And if haters, send me shit, then, I want to see if that happens. I mean, those troll items will most likely be stuff I can either just resell or just use. So, I will say this much, I do think it'll be pretty hilarious, to do that, and see if any of them do it. Because I will say, man, why should their hatred be free? The principle of Elvis, man. But not just that, but, like, that is just the truth. Like, there are people who are, like, hate watch to the point where they are, like, more of a fan than actual fans. and will, in some weird like irrational logic in their mind, will be like, "I'm sticking it to him now, motherfucker." When you're giving them money, you're supporting them. Still tons of toys and lubricants. That'd be more like my wish list, arguably. And you know what? Like, if so, who cares? Sounds like she has a wish list of different toys she wants to have fun with. Wow, shocker. Someone wants to have fun, with themselves and, maybe spice up their pleasure. Have the built-in, don't need it. Well, there you go. Bada bean, a bada boom. I like how this went from Poncho, beefing with me now to beefing with Taylor. He's not even paying attention to me anymore. He's just like now like roasting Tay. What the fuck? Come on. Come on. What, you scared the man over here, so you have to go pick on a woman? Where's my little booker? I know I had one over here. Here we go. You have a hanging font. Doesn't make you a T-girl. Isn't it possible for you to imagine a woman that doesn't need lube because you have never experienced one is excited to be with you? For real, bro. Like, seriously. See, like, us men like me, especially being bisexual, we need it because, yeah, anal sex kind of hurts a little bit, when you don't have that. I mean, you could do the Haktua, you know what I mean? But, like, that's pretty much it, Like, unless, or just straight water or whatever. But if not, you need some form of a lubricant. You should fix your ponytail. What a good girl you are. It's not a ponytail, my guy. It's just free flowing back there, dude. After work, I let this shit fly. So, what's my pronouns? Don't give a fuck. I suppose just yeah, but really, any of it, I don't care. I just find it funny that there's so many people that think I'm like trans or something when I'm not. But at the same time, I don't really have a strong like position on my gender or anything in the sense that like, yes, this is a part of my identity. I mean, I guess it is, but I just whatever, like I really just don't give a fuck. If I was born a woman, I probably, for the most part, would feel relatively the same about it. If I had both, or or like same thing there. I mean, fuck. I even say that if it was possible, I wouldn't mind, the ability to be like, huh, yeah, let me have tits and a pussy today, or for like a week, and like literally can like fluidly, change into shit. You know what I mean? Because why not? Like, I mean, if you want to go check out and explore a thing, then why the hell not? The problem is we don't have technology or anything like that yet. The closest we can do is basically like cross dress or whatever the fuck, or actually like transition, via being trans or non-binary or something. That's pretty much it. So I mean, like as far as I'm concerned, like if the means were there, I would literally not give a fuck, literally too. Like in a sense of it's like, yeah, I would just plop it all on me. How old are you now? I mean, my birthday's coming up, like, in how many days? Like what, 6 days, I think? Like, less than a week? Or at least, like, about a week? So, honestly, at this point, I'm almost fucking 30. I'm, like, 29, so... Hey, it's Joe Dirt. What's the actor's name? I'll give you points for that if you know the actor's name. Don't look it up. I want to see an answer very quickly. And if you don't know, then I'm going to be kind of disappointed. So far, I've only had a couple people that say this shit not know who it is. David Spade. Alex, it wasn't to you. God damn it, now the answer's out. Well, fuck. You know what, fine. And now that guy gets a pass. Son of a bitch. Well, not really, but, because I do have, like, a David Spade, like, / Keith Sunderland lookalike kind of thing going on. I will admit that, and I'm fine with that, actually. I do consider David Spade, and to a lesser extent, Keith Sunderland as, like, celebrity lookalikes of mine. So that's why I kind of quiz people when they mention like Joe Dirt or even like a character that Keith Sutherland's played. I'll be like, "Hold up, buddy. Who's the actor's name?" Because I'll take it and accept it if you do. Problem is that when I ask that question, so many people answer it, or the person that says it looks it up, and I'm just like, "Fuck!" It's like, you bastard. It's like, gotta put some respect on his name. Hey, bro, long time no smell. Well, shit. Hong Kong has arrived. Poncho, why did you type that? Why did you think that was such an appropriate thing to type? Can you lick your own foot? What the fuck, bro? My guy. Ew. What kind of ignited vegetable matter is that? Vegetables that are the properties of being ignited. How long is your hair? About here. About like my upper chest. Well, the longest ones, what the fuck? Okay, I have like an oddball long one that goes way down here, I guess, to my nip. You know, like, so I got like some long ones. So I'm assuming like, you know, there's some that are like back here that go like to my mid back. But if it just were to like hang totally, Joe Dirt, real name Jackie Chan. Okay, now you're just nah. You get 60 seconds. You get 1 minute to be in the corner. Like I said, you got to put some respect to that name. Or such as that, which is ironic because she literally does have a husband, and also like has had partners before in the past. Like, you know, like she's also one of my friends too. Hence why she's also a mod, because we also have a mutual friend too that also streams as well. So it's like, all in all, it's one of those things where it's like, bruh. I know her more than you do, and my guy, the projection is insane. Like, and if their profile pic of you is real, like, let me see what that is. Let me get, like, a nice, good look. If that is actually you, then you certainly got no room to talk. My PFP is real. Well, of course it is. We all know that you're a duck. Or a goose, actually, because geese are the ones that go honk. Do you play Minecraft? Nope. I mean, I will say I used to, but frankly, at this point, if I want to play a game that's like kind of Minecraft-esque, I'd just play something different, honestly, at this point. I'm a honk. Literally, the virtue that you said it like that just, to me, just shows you're not. I actually know dudes who are like kind of hunky and all this other shit, and they legitimately, you know, just, they don't project like that at all. Geese are cute but aggressive. Yeah. Luckily, the ones I've met, you know, are at least acclimated to humans enough to where they usually just, you can walk up to them and they'll be chilling, but you can't like walk up to them. They'll eventually be like, they'll just kind of walk away, be like, "Get away from me," or they'll do that, be like, "Yo, bro, yo, bro." But they won't like attack you. At least I've never seen that happen. Oops. There we go. What's the most expensive thing in my house? Between my collection of instruments and my gun that I got, probably one of those two. And I will say, at least because my gun has been upgraded, and I've kind of like, modded it over time with different parts and shit like that. So it's probably more expensive now than it was when I first bought it, which was $1,000. Now it's probably maybe, especially just due to the virtue of the market and everything, and they just get more expensive, especially with the firearm that I have, is probably of legitimately appreciated value to where it's probably more like 12 to 1300, maybe a little more than that even. But because it's used, which also I haven't used it that often, I've only taken it out shooting like maybe 5 times ever, since I've owned it for like the 3-something years I've had it. So it's like, I mean, like honestly, it's still in very good condition and everything. I haven't even cleaned it once because it's an AK. They really don't need much cleaning. They just need some basic maintenance and lubed up, and there you go. That's pretty much about it. As long as you got it nice and lubed and, maybe, kind of scooch out the barrel or like wipe down, the actual bolt a little bit, you're good. AKs are meant to be dirty and, tough bitches. Oh my god. Okay, this guy, you're done. You're out. You're just gone. Jesus fucking Christ. Do you have any tattoos? I'm gonna probably get one here soon. I just haven't had one yet. But if I do, it's probably going to be on my arm, because I want to at least start eventually 2 different sleeves, but I want to start with this one first. And I have a general idea of what I want to do. Like, my first initial idea is I want to do like Nordic and like Celtic, like rune Nordic and like Celtic knotwork and stuff. Like one down here, with like maybe like Celtic knots, and up here being like Nordic style knots, and then having like a beam that kind of intertwines them together. And then, from there, there's just, runes of, different types that surround it from there. And then on the top, I want to have like a Douglas fir tree that comes up with the Cascadian flag colors, going, up, but kind of like a fade a little bit into that. And then down here, I want to add some more stuff too, which I kind of have a general idea, but I just haven't figured it out quite yet. But I do want to at least kind of start upward, and then eventually work my way down. And then eventually on the left side, I want to, instead of having more like natural / nature based kind of shit, I want to be industrial. Like, maybe do something similar where there's like a like a band of like cogs, or maybe like, a conveyor belt kind of looking thing where there's like, the syndicalist symbol of labor and liberty, with a cog that goes up from that, or something. Oh, actually, multiple cogs going here with that one attached to that, looking like it's like, with these going kind of thing. That would look pretty cool. And then a few other things, I want to add in between that are like kind of in tandem with, labor adjacent kind of shit. And also kind of add more of that down below, including like even the anarchist lean kind of shit a little bit. And cooling, since it's my left arm, kind of makes sense. But again, I haven't really thought about it too much outside of like a few ideas, so in time though. Sure got him in a chokehold head ash. Huh? Are you trying to do a meme or something there, buddy? Like, am I like the opposite of Hassan Piker now? Where Hassan has a tiny head, and I have the big head but tiny body? Like, are we just doing the opposite of the meme with Hassan? Hat to tied head at. Why are you so obsessed with my head, my guy? Are you okay? Are you good? Can we see the back of your head? Why? There's nothing there. It's just hair. Oh my god. Okay, this guy is just... You literally have nothing to offer. Just get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. What does that sentence even mean? I don't know, but he literally is just an annoyance, so... Bleh. That's literally what I'm doing. Like, nah. Be gone with the... I literally wave you off. I literally will just wave you off now. I'm like, ugh. I'm losing brain cells. How do you think I feel when I do this shit? And for like the first fucking hour, like, is basically this shit until we finally weed out the, trolls and shit to where we actually get some decent fucking shit going on. Like, unironically though, that's been happening for so long. That I will say, this is also why my streams go on for so fucking long, because it takes forever to actually get into something decent. It's like, Jesus Christ. Just subbed, bro. I thought you were subbed already, honk honk. You weren't this entire time? Damn. The energy drinks and weed doesn't help, bro. I'm not drinking energy drinks. Oh my god. Wow, you made a sock account. That's so cute. Aww. Pancho made a sock account. That's adorable. Aww. That's so cute. Do a Mary from Cars movie impression? You mean basically just do a Larry the Cable Guy impression? Because Mater from Cars is basically just Larry the Cable Guy, but a towing truck. We're bonging it. Yeah. Do it. One, I haven't even like listened to Larry the Cable Guy in years, so I don't even really exactly, outside of basically doing just like some, yeah, I'm kind of like up here. What's up, y'all? I'm Larry the Cable Guy, or something. Get her done. Like what? Just to get her done. Just say that every so often in between shit, while sounding kind of like a bit of a redneck. Get her done. You know what I mean? Like. Shoot, you missed your biggest fanboy comeback. I know, it's just... I mean, I'm kind of bored of him. You need to smoke some salami. But I like salami. And, I mean, what if I've already done that? What if that's already been done, bro? You don't know. Good boy. Buy me a drink first. Which I do have a Cash App if you want to, before you do that. Oh, Leo. Ever tried a bucket bong? A bucket bong? You mean a gravity bong? Because that's what I call them, like, where you get like a 2 liter or something like that. You kind of cut open a little space where you can put a bowl or create like a little bowl on top of that. And then you get like a bucket, fill it with water, you light it up, and then you just slowly lift it up. So you get this whole big, full hit. And then you just go, whoo. You just like force it in your lungs, basically. I mean, that's a gravity bong. I mean, I've never heard it as a bucket bong. I'm guessing that's just another colloquial for it, unless that's something different. But I mean... Where to go wrong, Larry the Cable Guy? Because it's mostly just generic redneck boomer comedy shit. Same thing with people like, like John Foxworthy and shit, bro. Like, they had their time where it's like, boomer redneck dad shit and stuff like that. You know, yeah, Jeff Foxworthy. Yeah, it's just like a part of that broader, like comedy tropes of shit where it's just like no one really like gives a fuck anymore. And also it's just ran its course. Even the guy that does Ahmed the Dead Terrorist and all those like the ventriloquist comedian, he's just straight up like a lunatic now. Like he literally is like gone a little bonkers and shit. I mean, like these dudes just falling off for different reasons. I think for Larry, it probably is just the virtue that he just doesn't, like I don't know, he just doesn't really do other shit at this point besides just what he's used to, what he normally does. I mean, because he has fallen off. Like, what the fuck has he been doing lately? He's probably retired. Yeah, Jeff Dunham, that's his name. Yeah, the ventriloquist, Jeff Dunham. I will say, I do like, like some of that shit, like with Auckland Dead Terror stuff. Like, oh man, I mean, is it insensitive to a degree? Sure, I guess. But you know what? Like, I'm an edgelord. Even as a radical leftist, I like to be edgy, And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, even Auckland wasn't really like offensive, just like insensitive. That was as far as I'm concerned. And that, whatever. I mean, it's not like I would say personally, even that character was a bad character. I don't think so. Like, because honestly, were legit pretty funny jokes used with Ahmed and stuff. So, I mean, it's just that, I always kind of use the principle of separate art from artist, because the artist can still be a fucking nutbag, but it still makes good art. Where are you from? You look so familiar. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, born and raised. I mean, you from the PNW? Are you radical leftist? I just said I was. By the way, I did got PFP with Eddie. At least I'm pretty sure that's Eddie, isn't it? I don't know if you're on this whole top bands like list shit where I can see. Yeah, you're not. Damn. Because I want to try to make that PFP bigger so I can actually. Oh wait, no, yeah, it is Eddie. Yep, I knew it. Nice. Would you say that Ron Perlman is good Hellboy? Yeah. No, dude, Ron Perlman honestly is a pretty decent actor. I love his voice. Dude, Ron Perlman is the GOAT. Shamey is like kind of somewhat fallen off and just kind of does more B-list kind of movies and shit like that. I mean, because I actually just watched this movie called The Retirement Plan with Nick Cage and Ron Perlman was in it. And honestly, like, it wasn't a bad movie. It was pretty good. In fact, it was actually pretty funny at times. There's at one point where Nick Cage literally just, like, ninja chops some dude's, like, neck and breaks it, and he's going... And then Nick Cage is like... And he just starts mimicking him as he's dying, just like... I just started laughing because I'm like, dude, what the fuck, Nick Cage? Dude, that honestly, when you're retired and you're old man, you're just like, why am I having to deal with this bullshit again? And then it happens. I'm just like, fuck it, dude. I'd do the same shit, honestly. I literally would. Like, dude, it was just awesome. That movie was actually pretty good. And then the weird twist at the end of the movie threw me for a fucking loop. And I was like, what the fuck? I was actually genuinely surprised and I liked it because it was such a curveball ending that I did not expect it whatsoever. Like, at all. I was legitimately like, whoa, mindfuck a little bit. But it was a cool one, though. Like I said, I was genuinely pretty surprised with that movie. It was a great movie. Oh, you've seen it too, Mornax? It really was, honestly, wasn't it? And Ron Perlman was in it. I wish that he did have a redemption arc in that movie because he was one of the bad guys and had to deal with the kidnapped daughter or whatever pretty much the entire time. And it looked like there was like a weird budding relationship where it's like, hey, maybe the kid can convince this old guy who's just kind of in it for the job, where it's like, all right, he ends up helping, save the day a little bit. But that's not what happened. I mean, I won't spoil it, but it's like, damn, I will say that kind of sucks ass. I will admit. I was a little disappointed with that, but I kind of expected it. It was just a little unfortunate the way it happened, though, I will say. But man, this is why I always say that Nick Cage gets a bad rap, because he really is genuinely a good actor. And if you look into why he just takes so many random ass movies, you know, is that like he does it really specifically for his family for the most part. Like he takes care of his kid, his mom, and shit with that. Like he's doing it more so for his folks, more so than himself. That's why he does it. Which, you know what? I can't even blame him. I actually respect the fuck out of him for that. Yeah, sometimes he's not going to play really well in some movies because it's just such a low budget, schlocky ass shit movie. But but he still puts his heart out to it to a degree. Yeah, Liam Neeson was good for his time, but not anymore. Okay, what the fuck is this egg cloud shit? Can we like shut up about that, please? Like, there's been like 5+ of you doing this shit. Like, please say to our friend, maybe they'll stop. I guess so, but oh, you know, shocker, no, I haven't. Because I'm sure you're trolling, I guarantee you that's not a real thing. But anyway. But you want to know also, when it comes to Liam Neeson, how you knew he fell off? Taken 3. Where there was literally like 50 cuts of him trying to hop a fence. He's hopping a fence, and there's literally like 8+ different cut shots in less than 2 seconds. Like, in the span of that like 5-second scene of him trying to hop over a fence to make it look like he's just like, wham! When he's sort of like, I gotta hop over this. Oh shit, I'm too old for this shit, god damn it. Like, it was just honestly kind of embarrassing. I was just like, oh my god, Liam, you gotta stop doing this shit, dog. You gotta stop now. You gotta be like that, you know, you gotta play like old man roles now, you know what I mean? Like, at a certain point, actors need to understand the need to, like, branch off into different shit. Like, you know, Robert De Niro, for example. He does like this mob boss shit, like with The Irishman, where this old guy is trying to beat the fuck out of someone, and at one point he's like, you know, beat the shit out of someone in a diner, I think, in that movie, and like was kicking him. But the way he was kicking him looked like an old man doing a kick, where he's like, you know, like that shit. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, you couldn't at least try to be like forceful, even like, I don't know, CGI Robert De Niro's face onto some younger actor to really put some oomph in that kick. And also they use like weird young CGI on him where he's supposed to look younger, but he still looked like he was like 50+, even though in the movie he was technically supposed to be like, what, like 40 something or some shit. I mean, so like, why? Like, playing movies where you're like, you know, just the old guy that isn't doing action shit or whatever, you know? It's like, come on. I mean, at a certain point, like I said, bro, like actors, if they're still wanting to act but are like too old for the shit that they were known for, it's like, yeah, you gotta change it up. At least that's why also I kind of like Nick Cage, because as he's old, like, you know, he's just still doing whatever's available, and just like he's a very open door of like, if you want me to play this, I'll do that. I'll do whatever the fuck to make that the best possible, because, you know, I'm an eccentric actor kind of guy. So, I mean, at a certain point, it's like, you know, that's why I still hold a lot of respect for certain actors versus others, in a way. You'd be a dick too if you were worth 600 million. Wait, what? Wow, wait, why you hide Joe Mama? What did he do? I don't think he did nothing. To me, Mordox is just like, I'm done with the shit. But here, let me unhide Joe Mama. I think he's okay. He only has like 3 comments on this channel and so far, and on this stream at least. I think Joe Mama's okay. Yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, I kind of figured that's why. I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna come down point if you want, but I think me and kind of gonna get an Airbnb together. I've been wanting to talk to you about this, Phoebes, since you're in here. Um, I was thinking, are you doing an Airbnb in Seattle? Because legit, you would have like a place to crash, here in Portland for a night. Because my idea was the day before we were going to Seattle, we hang out here in Portland for a day, and then obviously, the next day, finishing our leg up to Seattle, we just all go together and bada bing, bada boom. And honestly, if you got an Airbnb thing, I also want to mention it because I will legit pitch in for that. Even if it's only like a couch and then like 2 bedrooms, I'll do the couch. I literally do not give a fuck. You know what I mean? I mean, I want to at least try to hit you up about some of this shit and figure out some more details. Obviously, you can't get into all the details here on stream, but I wanted to at least bring that up because I think it would be pretty cool as hell to, show off Portland a little bit. At least like check out some really cool spots in some bars that I like to go to. Maybe see if I got a buddy or something that I know at these bars, and maybe get a chance to like link up with them for a bit or some shit. And I'll see if I'll do research, see if there might be like a little small punk show or something going on. Because there's like a chance that something like that or, some cool little event is happening. I mean, we'll be in December, so chances are probably not likely, but you never know. I'll let them know. Yeah, for sure, yeah. Because, either way, like, especially it might be even cheaper for you guys because if it's like a 3-way split, for that, that's more money in our pockets altogether. So I will say that it's genuinely probably a decent way to at least. Oh my god, I gotta just take this guy out. Oh my god. But I think it would be a little bit more affordable and also a little easier to handle that type of shit, and thus being able to have more liberty to fuck shit up, spend more money. At the events, get more merch. I'm planning on splurging on the virtue of merchandise. I'm gonna see what shirts, what shit they got. I hope they have Senior Tomat pillows because I swear to God, I will buy 2 of those things. I'm expecting to at least have a baby splurge, and I will say, because of when the meetup is versus the potential Vancouver, BC trip I want to do, that's at least definitely within the realm of possibilities. So we'll just have to see ultimately, but ooh. I'm definitely excited for the end of the year because I've been saving up mostly for shit like this and a few other things. Actually, I'm going to invest some of my savings into, well, actually, because I'm good on rent, utility stuff, because I got that all taken care of. And this is my 3rd check for this month. And it's kind of like my free, month or my free paycheck to kind of just use for whatever. So I'm going to splurge more of that into savings and invest into at least either an e-scooter or e-bike, at some point here for my weekend and get that out of the way. And then, especially at the Facebook Marketplace or some shit like that. And then, also at least, what was the other thing? A PC. But I'm gonna first get a Jesse Wells ticket because that's happening on Wednesday at the Pioneer Courthouse Square in Portland. And then I want to at least finalize my dates in October to go see my sister and my niece. So I want to at least get that out of the way too. Because I definitely got the money for it at the moment. Keanu's still attractive for his age. Not just that, but Keanu's just also just awesome. He's just the GOAT. If there's anything that, you can't take away from Keanu Reeves is that he's legitimately just a cool-ass fucking dude. He has no problem, hanging out with his fans, just genuinely being a very sweet dude and genuinely being just a down-to-earth kind of guy. Didn't know Keanu was proactive like that at all. Oh yeah, also he's a rights activist for animal rights and stuff like that. He's really a genuinely good dude. You mess with that, he went to help. Oh yeah. Dude, yeah, Keanu's just a goat. Favorite game? This is gonna sound weird even though I haven't played it yet, because I already know it will probably be one of my favorite games. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I have the first game, but I want to get the second one once I get a PC so I can actually, fucking play it. But I've seen enough of it, enough gameplay, enough of the memes and everything, you know, where I'm like, I already know I'm gonna love this. This is gonna definitely be one of my favorite games once I get it. I mean, at least for games that I have played, not gonna lie, dude, that's kind of a fucking hard answer because that changes a lot of the times, you know, over the years, I will admit. But and the shitty thing is I haven't been gaming that much lately at all because I don't really have the means to do it. So I'm just like, because I am a gamer, but I'm just kind of a hiatus gamer right now, which kind of sucks. Like the only games I play is like Plague Inc. and this like flight sim that's on my fucking phone, and that's like on dead time or spare time or like during my lunch break or some shit. You know what I mean? It's like, ugh. Which I definitely want to call those my favorite games. Ever give up on the games? I haven't. I just am in a circumstance where I can't splurge on that shit as much as I want to. And the thing is, when I get a PC, I want to make sure it's a good gaming PC, but I'm also going to make sure it's at least decent enough to where I can get a good start for streaming shit. And then basic games like Hearts of Iron, Crusader Kings 3, games that don't take a lot of like CPU, RAM, and graphics card capabilities and shit. You know what I mean? And then, you know, make sure the PC is at least upgradable because even if it's probably going to cost a lot, especially more than ever when it comes to graphics cards and all this shit, I'd rather at least get the basic foundation and then I could just save up for some of this shit. Because frankly, more likely than not, I'll probably just need to get a graphics card update. You know, upgrade that or maybe upgrade like the RAM a little bit. Which, yeah, it's going to be expensive as shit, but that's just the virtue of the economy on that right now. Thanks, AI and data centers. Fuck you, NVIDIA. Ugh. Like, I mean, it's kind of absurd when it comes to how bad it is now. Because I used to have a PC I was building up a little bit, and then there was this big storm that hit, and it literally just fried the fucking computer. Like, because it had like a surge that happened because there was like a moment where it was a blackout and then it came back on like 5 seconds later and the PC was literally like one of the couple things that didn't, you know, and I was like, fuck. What I do know is that the data on that shit's still saved, and frankly, honestly, it's probably not worth it anymore because it's been so fucking long. Because I do have old ass content that's like pre 2020 too, by the way, where it's just like it would be kind of cool to maybe recover it and upload it just on the virtue of like here's like an old ass thing I haven't uploaded in the context of this year, not now. You know what I mean? But I feel like that'd be too much work because I'd probably have to also be like, hey guys, what's up? So this video is actually a very old one that I never uploaded or, you know, or something like that. And I want to at least, you know, have still uploaded. But I'm at least going to pop in every so often for caveats or asterisks, or maybe I made a prediction or an idea where it's like validated or I was off by this or whatever. Like, it might be actually kind of cool to do that. Like, if I could find those videos. But at the very least, I can still go to my old archive that I do have on my channel for what I did upload and do it from there, for sure. And see if there's like opinions or things that I don't agree with anymore, or maybe even agree with further. That'd be kind of cool, honestly, because I know for a fact I got like a lot of different things, even with streams where I know we delve deep into all sorts of topics, where I'm just like, I bet if I find one, just out of virtue of just saying fuck it and just skimming around, I bet we could probably make a cool, fun little bit of content out of that. Because I think it would be kind of cool as hell to kind of see what, you know, how my views from like 2020 or, well, maybe not. Well, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I was banned in like 2021 off Twitch, but most of my shit was on there. But I certainly can figure that out a little bit. If I could somehow get my old Twitch account unbanned, I probably won't stream there again, but I can at least maybe, hopefully, possibly get some of my old streams recovered. Maybe. Probably not, but I hope so. Because I will say this much, especially with the Portland protest I was at during 2020, during George Floyd protests. I was like literally one of the few streamers that actually had like some of the best fucking angles and like the best perspective and footage. Because I had no fear of being on the front lines, like right in the front with everybody else with their shields and shit, and I'm here with my fucking streaming shit in between people with their shields, and I'm just like, hey, you know, if I'm gonna be streaming this, I might as well catch like the actual heart of it all, you know, instead of being in a corner, you know. Like honestly, that's how I thought about it. And there were so many times where I like legit was just like, wow, like in hindsight, despite the intensity of all I knew, I was like, dude, that is some highlight shit right there. You know what? I am like, if I were to like, let's say like go back into like schooling again, I think like journalism or something would definitely be up my alley, or at least especially for independent journalistic, you know, factors. Because, dude, I think it would be really cool as hell to kind of do that more legitimately. I mean, I will say, you know, once I start making money doing this shit, I mean, I will technically be a part of that as well with my broader like productions that I do here. You know, with like the Husky productions that are being done. So, I mean, it would be a part of that, but I wouldn't necessarily call it actual official independent journalism or press. I mean, I will put that, you know, on my shit sometimes, but doesn't mean I actually literally am. Because I've had people come up to be like, what outlet you from? I'm like, I'm independent. I'm my own person. And they'll be like, oh, well, what's your channel? Well, what's your platform or whatever? And I'll let them know. Ever tried VR? I've not like an Oculus Rift or anything like that, but I've wanted to. Shit grass. What is with people? You're like the fifth person, bro. What is with people asking this fucking question tonight? At least they're starting to slowly but surely weed out these fuckers. Just go grow out for real cage. Like it's not a vampire lol. Frel doesn't even look like Sage either. Vampires. Well, what's their net worth and shit like that? Like, I mean, how like rich and elitist status are they? Like, you know what I mean? Because there, I do think there's legitimately some truth where there is like medicine, healthcare, and shit that's available that actually does maybe not literally have like, you know, youth regenerative like properties, but severely and massively reduces aging. And that's not just Botox and shit either. That is probably a part of like other broader physical therapy treatments, you know, to kind of help prolong, you know, that aging process. But I mean, because I dude, like with these politicians, with people like Mitch McConnell, who you know for a fact, by the way, why did he just get out of the radar on the news? Mr. Trollman, who's just basically dead. Like, we all know that fucker's dead. But, like, even then, you know, like, this motherfucker, like, for all this time, you know, when he probably should have been dead sooner. Like, let's just be fucking frank here. Like, I mean, yeah, nah, fam. There was other shit, you know, that was propping his ass up besides just, like, generic basic healthcare that's on a better status because he's a politician. Nah, he's getting extra shit. You know, like, yeah, because it's totally get kept. And, by the way, even being an advocate for universal healthcare, I still believe that they would still do this shit. They'll probably have less of an excuse to just hide it for long, so they'll have to slowly weed it out, maybe a little bit by bit, but they're not going to make it like that accessible. I mean, because in a way, universal healthcare doesn't mean you just get access to every little fucking thing necessarily, but it does open up for treatment options, right? But they're going to still, you know, be like, oh yeah, that's not like ready yet. Even though we've been using it for like 20 plus years on our fucking leaders and the elites in the capital class, but you know. I also will say, like, I think the whole adrenochrome thing is some bullshit, but I do think there's the tiniest smidgen of truth here. And let me explain this. we all know about stem cell research, right? Like, and also, at least, does anyone know what stem cells are? Because stem cells are essentially like the jack of all trade cells, and they're mostly like in your spinal fluid and in your spinal cord area. And there are means to be able to even donate, like, stem cells and shit like that. Like, it's actually a big process in medical research and scientific research and shit. It's a whole thing. But it's because stem cells, if you like, let's say, someone needs to like, have like a graft to help repair like some fucked up like damage on their arm. A part of that treatment on top of skin grafts would also be stem cells to not just help, basically rapid fire boost the healing process, but also, because those cells are now like, in the midst of skin cells, and they pretty much immediately like that will be like, we're skin cells now. And they pretty much now operate and act as such, and then thus they are now just skin cells. And if you do that with, various cells, like if you were to do that with like stomach lining or like help to repair liver damage and shit like that, it's not like regenerative, but it does help rapidly and immensely with repairs. And also when it comes to, at least growing some back. So there is like kind of a level of regenerative property, but it's not like literally regenerative. It's not like lizard shit where if like you got your hand cut off, like you can just inject stem cells and slowly but surely your hand comes back. Like that's not how it works. Like if you lose your hand, you lose your hands. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's just like, I mean, to a degree, it is like a proto variable of that type of technology, which is good tech. And I do think it's amazing research. Not even dogging on the research. What the scientists are doing when it comes to that shit is amazing. But obviously, there's powers in the capital, that and the powers of the capitalist class, that are just straight up like, yeah, nah. Let's just make sure that the average people don't get that shit. But we'll pay a premium to ensure we get it. Even if it's still somewhat experimental. Kylie Jenner fucking breast implants. Or like fucking Nicki Minaj of her like body implants. How y'all? Okay, come on, don't be doing that. Don't be doing the N-word shit. Come on now, bro. Knowledgeable about a lot of different topics. Well, I'm also kind of autistically obsessed about shit like this. Not just like health stuff or stem cell shit, but politics, science, sciences, especially like biological sciences. Because I mean, when I took genetics and biology in high school and in college, like a lot of the learning that we did was also about stem cells. More so in genetics class and in college and shit like that. When I was taking some classes then, but definitely like was a part of the research that we took, and it's very fascinating, cool as fuck. And I just I'm curious about it, so I look up that shit on my own as well. I mean, all it takes is just a little basic level of curiosity, you know what I mean? Being like, hey, like this is some cool shit. I'm putting that in my brain. Put that in the file. Now, I'm not gonna like learn every tiny little detail and every factoid and all that shit, but you get the gist, and that's enough to at least have a hook to maybe, check it out yourself. Kind of love to live forever, but at the same time, I fucking hate how the shit the world's come to. I mean, and also think about it. Immortality would suck. Like, because not only, I mean, I suppose the philosophy of how you would perceive these things would be different at a certain point, but like literally all your family, even your children and their children and their children's children, which also you can literally have perpetual generations. That would be such a weird thing. And also at the same time, like the world will literally just be engulfed by the sun. You know what I mean? Like what? Like you're immortal, but you could still potentially die from other shit. But let's say that also is taken out of the equation. So now you're literally are inside the red giant of the sun at like 6 point something billion years later. Or something happens to the Earth and then you just get ejected into space and are just floating in the cosmos. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, I'm pretty sure being like immortal would legitimately suck really bad. Now, having a long life, I think would be cool as hell. but I want to be able to have the option to, legitimately be like, I'm done, pull the plug now, please. You know what I mean? Shit, got a little darker play in the background. Hell yeah. I need to add more of this guy on my playlist. Little Dark goes hard as fuck. Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire. Oh, kind of noticed it too late. Oh well. Shit. Fishbone now? My playlist is knowing me too well at the moment. And a good song too. Propaganda of the Funk. Fuck this shit. That's so many goddamn lip fillers for the freaking plastic surgeries kind of messed her up. That's why, honestly, I kind of find it funny that we're at a weird era, I think, when it comes to beauty standards, or people are starting to get, like, grossed out by, like, plastic surgery and shit. And I'm kind of weirdly glad I wasn't the only one. Look, I don't think that maybe having some touch-ups, or maybe, like, you generally hate those crow's feet thing, and you get, like, a tiny little, like, baby ejection thing to kind of help address that shit. You know what I mean? Like, a little touch-up here and there, whatever, not a big deal. Or you get implants or whatever. So you get, like, because maybe one of your breasts is lopsided and smaller than the other, and you want it to be more even. Like, whatever. Like, the shit like that's totally fine. But there are some people, especially celebrities, that just plastic surgery, like, to look like a fucking Barbie doll practically, or at least borderline looking like one. I'm just like, ew. I genuinely am unattracted by that. Like, yeah, your ass be thick and bootylicious, but that don't mean that it's like, it's underwhelming to me. And I'm a man who likes some thickum booties. But I want the celluloid, bro. I want, like, raw, natural thick. I mean, I don't want, like, feeling like a silicone ball in there, you know what I mean? Like, I want to feel like a ball of some fats and muscles and celluloid, bro. That's the whole point of a nice, good fucking booty, bro. Like, dead ass. Yeah, Judge gets it. Like, he's straight up, like, drooling over here thinking about it. Because that's how booty ought to be. I want to say because because of the idea of morticians towards me, I'm playing with dead bodies, like undressing and dressing. I mean, they play a role though, and honestly, I hate to sound now because I don't know, like, because it is weird, I suppose, just saying it, but I think it would be strangely kind of interesting to be that. It would be an interesting job. Because, like, you're either doing that, and helping out with, like, the coffin, the wake, and stuff like that, or you're aiding in the cremation process and stuff, right? And helping a family kind of with the process of going for that, I mean, there's, like, a level of humanity where I look at that and, like, and even I'll look at those people and be like, I wonder what your life was about, and maybe, based off the file that you get on that person, you'd be like, it's probably, got all sorts of, different backgrounds and shit. Or maybe I'll be like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck happened to your life, guy? Damn. Why did I say much on the side out? But I'm intentionally messing up dead by his playing. I'd rather just be dead, not prop to dress up, like, let me rest. Well, hence why they say so they can finally rest, right? They're dead and out resting, but they're not truly rested until they have their final, coffin and grave, right? I mean, like, it is legitimately kind of a weird thing, and I totally get what you mean, though, bro. But at the same time, you're dead. Like, as far as you're concerned, you are resting. You're done. You know what I'm saying? Whatever happens to your body happens, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care if my shit's presented in a science museum for all I give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, if my corpse, is used for science, and researching my brain and all that other shit, or they just display me at, OMSI or whatever the fuck, or some science museum, where I'm like literally in like layers, where you can see the layers of the human body or some shit. I don't give a fuck. Or they use my skeleton, for like, science class, or some shit. I don't give a fuck, dog. I really don't. I will say that, like, I'm more kind of on the idea that I would more specifically rather request, like, whatever organs that I know can still potentially go to somebody as like an organ donor thing. I'd like that, and maybe even my brain studied, for research purposes for like consciousness and shit. But then just cremate the rest of me. You know what I mean? And like gives, let some of my family, maybe like some friends or other shit, have it, whether, and they do whatever they want with it. But I will say will specifically request as a last final wish to at least have some of my ashes, scattered in the Pacific Northwest. Some of it in Cascadia and the Gorge, some of it in the Oregon coast, some of it in the Willamette River and the, Johnson Creek area. Like, I want to, be spread a little bit around, spread the love, as they say. But I wouldn't want necessarily all of it. If my, family wants to keep some of it, then they can do that. I just request at least some of it, ends up being that way. But if it's all of it, then frankly, as far as I give a shit, more better. Not an extreme enhancements, the proportions of socials look insane. Yeah, I'm not either. Which, I will say is kind of a weird pickle about, like, about this topic with like enhancements and shit. Because, there are like people who are not binary or trans and shit like that. Or they have like a specific identity where, like, I even know, well, I don't literally know them, but I know of them who is this, you know, sex artist and sex worker who is, identifies as a Fuda, basically, where it's like they're a dude, but they got tits. And the thing is, they specifically got like different HRT and also implants too to help with the process of developing breasts, basically, while still gotten a dick and balls of shit, I mean, some people just got, specific identities they want to be, and those enhancements do help naturalize that for them and actualize it too. You know what I mean? So I will say there's definitely like a balance, I would say, arguably, because even like for me, for example, if I decide like, you know, like let's say that I want to at least have like legit a big butt, like, and there are exercises and other things to do so, but let's just say I want to guarantee that, right? I mean, and I have like the smallest implants to kind of help add the roundness a little, you know what I mean, or something like that. I can see that being somewhat acceptable. I personally want to do it. I'm just going to do the exercises I know when it comes to those glutes, to make them extra. But we have a cabin right next to the catacombs, so I know that the study of sex system. Shit, damn. That'd be interesting to like live next to catacombs like that. I will say, like, the job that I got, there's like a cemetery nearby, and I'll admit there's been sometimes, because one of the gates was unintentionally left open, I'll just like walk through it, on my way back home or some shit, because I'm like, I literally got like 15 minutes until the bus, and it's like 12:45. Like, fuck it. I'm not gonna lie, like, looking at some of that shit is actually legitimately pretty cool. I will admit. But there is a little interesting spookiness to it, to a degree. Just because it's like, you know, I've seen some graves where it's like 1893, 1894. I'm like, so that's just a toddler. There's like a toddler skeleton, like right here. And it's like next to their whole family and shit. I'm just like, whoa. What fucking plague or what hit this poor bastard, before they even have a chance to live, basically. It's like, this is also why I kind of hate a lot of especially conservatives and traditionalists specifically, which are usually right wingers that talk about, like, go back to the old days. Oh, yeah, where infant mortality is where you probably died before you went at the age of 5. Like, there literally, statistically, it literally was a fact that, like, because of infant mortality rates were so insane, in the old days, that's why, like, the average lifespan was so low. It's because that children, especially up until they're about 10 years old, were very likely to just die from sickness, from other shit, literally fucking damn near anything, but especially disease. But, like, after a certain point, once you hit your teen years and shit, that like drops immensely, so once you kind of got past that rough patch, like, you're pretty much good, for the most part. Like, you could likely live a pretty long life at that point. That's why they would look at someone who's like Moses in the Bible or some shit, being like, you're like 900 years old. It's because, like, yeah, that dude probably was like 80 something years old, but because of how ancient and old he literally looks like he's been through literally millennia of lifespans, because mortality was not really in humans' favor at the point. But that doesn't mean that you can't live a long life. Because, people existed like that. In fact, in a lot of ways, they're legitimately kind of revered in a way because of their wisdom. Why did they live so long while most of us don't? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're going to look up to those people to an extent. Problem is, these days, though, they're running shit so much to the point where it's like they don't listen to the youth or anything anymore. In fact, we got the wisdom now. They don't. That's why this traditionalistic bullshit is fucking insane, because they don't realize the impact that these bullshit traditions and their ideas and values have. Because it's, like, unironically, weirdly, a white Western Christo version of noble savage trope shit. What the fuck was that? It sounded like a pop, borderline sounded like a gun, but it also sounded like a door slamming too. I'm back. Hey, what's up, Taylor? Again. I love to see the catacombs. I'm claustrophobic though. I mean, yeah, I get you. Well, not really, because I'm not claustrophobic myself, but I also don't like being in tight spaces and shit like that. I mean, I'm not going to panic or freak the fuck out, unless I'm, like, stuck, and then, yeah, there's going to be some claustrophobic shit in me where I'm like, I'm kind of stuck here, oh no. But, I mean, for the most part, I will say, like, if I'm in a tight, small space, and at least I know that I'm fine, I mean, even if it is a little spooky and my mind might fuck with me thinking I'm in a tight space more so than I'm not, or whatever, like, I'll be alright. If anything, it will be other shit that'll kind of freak me out. Especially when it comes to things in places like this, like catacombs, or maybe like urban exploring, or caves and other shit. It's not really the space itself that freaks me out. It's wondering if there's other people with you, or other beings, or other animals, or anything else with you. That's the spooky thing. It's basically just like, are you alone, or are you not? That's the spooky shit. And I've done a lot of urban exploring. I've done a lot of shit like that, where at a certain point you realize we're not alone. You don't see nothing. There's not inherently a feeling of activity. But at a certain point, you just fucking know. And you realize it because you're like, that's new. That's an empty beer can from somebody that they must have drank here. And that is at least been here for probably like either all day or an hour or something. There's just evidence, right? And then you realize, and then you start putting your head on yourself when you realize, like, yeah, we aren't. And you don't know what that is. But at that point, it's like, it's probably better just to get out of Dodge. Catacombs in Italy are 20 meters of stone, which goes down, and then one has held 6 million dead bodies. Jesus, that's crazy. Also, from Italy. That's pretty cool. I've always wanted to go check out Italy. I will say I'm not sure about your current leader right now, but hey, that doesn't mean Italy's cool as hell, and it's got insanely rich ass fucking history that I most certainly would love to explore, including those catacombs too. What's the name of them? Because if I can look them up, I might be like a place I'll pin on Google Maps, just to be like, if I ever find myself in Italy and near that area, I might try to go over there, check them out. I would love to see the Parisian catacombs, like the ones that are in Paris and shit. I've heard a lot of like interesting shit where it's like, I mean, because they have a lot of a section off for tourists, specifically for tour guides and stuff. I don't want to do that. I want to find like you have to know it, you have to be in the know kind of spot and explore that shit, and literally have like a couple glow sticks with me and just like drop them every so often and just explore that shit. Not go too deep, but like just keep going as far as a straight line, and then if it's like a T intersection, then I'll just be like, all right, now I'm just gonna go left, drop a glow stick here. That's my kind of thing, and then we just kind of go straight and maybe take the first left or right, and then just keep it simple. Because like if you take too many turns and explore too far, you're literally just gonna straight get lost, and yeah, obviously I don't want that. But I still want to explore it on my own terms. I don't want like the tourist shit because it's gonna be too polished and all that shit. Love watching or exploring videos. Well, it's even more fun when you do it yourself, I will admit. There's this paper mill that has gotten torn down now at this point. That used to be called the Blue Pelican Paper Mill in Oregon City in Oregon. And I went urban exploring there a lot. And there were so many cool fucking things that were there, that I checked out and shit. It was so cool. But the thing is, every so often there'll be a little bit of a spooky moment because we'll stumble upon shit that's obviously things that homeless left. They just don't happen to be there at the moment, but they might be like anywhere else. And there's also one time where we went urban exploring, and I told my friends to wait back because I was like, there might be people over here. I'm going to be quiet, but let me check this out. I turned a corner, and there was at least like 4 dudes in these lawn chairs. I don't know if they were security or homeless people. I literally didn't know. But I literally peeked over, and they had their backs turned away, so they didn't see me at all. Plus, it was dark. But I was just like, whoa. I quietly stepped back, and I just did that, as I'm walking up to my friends, and they kind of got the hint and started walking back to where we initially, went into. And they're like, people? I'm like, 4 at least. Let's just quietly book it. They didn't see me. They didn't do nothing, but just, tonight's not the night. Let's talk feedback about a place nearby. It tore it down, though, before I ever knew. Damn. That kind of sucks. Well, I should talk to Phoebe, too, because, like, I know a few places of urban exploration that her and I could probably do. But the thing is, like, I need to hit up some people. Because there was this one person that recently on the Portland subreddit showed, like, some of his urban exploring adventures. I want to ask that person directly, be like, hey, I have a friend coming into town at some point soon, and I want to do urban exploring. Like, hey, if you have a Discord or have a more safer means of sharing that information, would that be cool? To do so, kind of thing. Because the pictures that person sent was actually pretty cool shit. Like there was some old school like shit in there. There's like computers and different things and tech in that building that looks like it came from the 90s or 80s. I mean, apparently from what that guy said in the post about how he got in there, it's kind of hard and harder now because they got a little bit more tighter security there, but or at least locked up. So unless you want to just break for that shit, which would be stupid, don't do that. There is other means to get in there apparently, but that information was never disclosed, which I can understand because you don't want too many people doing that shit. But I think I'll say this much: if that person were to leave me like enough hints, and I can at least like keep that in mind, and then be able to find that spot, I'd be like, oh hell yeah. From what I was told, I think they did have to use a ladders, to get to a particular way to get in there. So, but hopefully not. I'll just have to ask the person because I love urban exploring, and I definitely want to find some new places to explore. Oh, which does remind me, there are the Shanghai tunnels in Portland too, and I know for a fact there are different means of getting inside. And every so often you can get tours of them, through Portland. But I want to like legitimately explore them. The thing is, though, you're gonna want to have self-defense. Maybe not necessarily a gun, especially in tunnels and shit like that. You don't want permanent hearing damage, but you definitely want pepper spray and a knife for sure, or like a baton stick or something. Like you're not gonna want to be there unarmed. I know that much for a fucking fact. But beyond that, like I think it'd be cool as fuck. And the only reason why I say that, by the way, is not because of like human trafficking and other factors and shit like that, but because of homeless people. Like, unfortunately, a lot of these Shanghai tunnels, not only were they used for like, back in the day when they were active for human and, drug trafficking and shit like that, which most of them are abandoned now, but they're still somewhat quote unquote active spots, but it's just because of homeless at this point. Basically, the tunnel rat homeless, like the equivalent of like the tunnel rats of Las Vegas, because there's a lot of like underground places all over like Las Vegas where there's homeless people that literally just live there in these underground weird little like caves and shit like that. And with the Shanghai tunnels in Portland, it's not really too much different. So you just gotta make sure you know where the least amount of activity is, and then just explore that. And also, just if you see activity, fuck right off the other direction. Just don't even bother fucking around and finding out. Vietnam has war tunnels you can tour. Oh yeah, dude, there's a lot of shit that Vietnam's got that you can check out, especially with their history. I would love to visit Vietnam. And you know what? Despite so many people that are like communism failed and blah, 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 blah. Explain Vietnam. Vietnam, since Ho Chi Minh, for all intents and purposes, has been a communist nation and yet has beaten off the French, the United States, China, and Cambodia. They have not lost a fucking war since, being, the People's Republic of Vietnam. And also, despite the damages of Agent Orange and the chemical warfare and all the fucked up shit that the United States especially has done to Vietnam, they are still being a pretty prosperous nation and are growing even more so to be a legitimately pretty decent, like, regional, economy in the area. They already are doing that now. And they do legitimately have like principles of some levels of communism within their government that's actually like, damn, that's kind of based. Like Vietnam is actually like, still got a lot of problems. I'm not going to deny this, but honestly, like, is a good example of like a successful communist state. I mean, honestly. And, shocker, it has not killed its own people. It's not fucking like, done some crime of punishment or some quote unquote cultural revolution against the South, Vietnamese and shit.
Vietnam is not entirely communist.
I know it's not.
It's kind of like China.
Well, yes, I know this. I mean, I'm just talking about the specific elements about what I'm talking about with that shit. But yes, I mean, I know that. I mean, it definitely has adopted a lot of like China state capitalistic elements and shit, where it's definitely not like purely communist. And in fact, it's done more so that so it prospers further. Because ultimately, like a true communistic society can't, in this current global state and economic status, can't really necessarily exist in a pure way. Like it has to adopt, an element of capital to be able to function, which Vietnam is definitely one of them. But at least when it comes to like even China too, like they are more closer to that to those principles of communism more so than China is. I mean, arguably. I mean, that doesn't mean they're like going to be some massive global superpower by any means. I mean, but it ultimately does say that despite all the strife and all this shit, and even adapting and with the modern world and shit, and struggling with health issues and all sorts of other consequences, including in their environment ecologically and farm and agriculture because of Agent Orange and all these other chemicals that we've done and used on these people and the land, like. Yeah, I mean, they're still somehow like doing way better than a lot of other countries that have been incessantly fucked by imperialism. I mean, that is a legitimate fact. Arguably, I legitimately am more favorable Vietnam than China, arguably, which is ironic because so many right wingers think I'm an outright China or even a Russian simp. Which is ironic, because doesn't Trump kind of like Russia and Putin and shit like that? Like, isn't he kind of friendly with them? I think they kind of forget that part. I listened to those Noah Hanna broadcasts, like, damn, they were about it. Well, not just that, but if you actually research and look into Ho Chi Minh himself, like, he studied leftism and labor politics and labor advocacy, via the University of Paris, and got in touch with local French, syndicalists and communists, during his time growing up. And that's how he learned about Marxist theory and about different leftist, theory, at the time, especially industrial leftist theory, with like syndicalism and shit. And he came back predominantly really as a democratic socialist, if you really look into his philosophy, and became like an outright populist radical, like legit, like borderline, like Mamdani, like El Sayed type, like legitimately. It wasn't only until the mass intervention and imperialistic attempt to destroy communism, and Ho Chi Minh taken over and elected as a popular legitimate leader, like because the Vietnamese actually looked at him as a popular like favorable person, because shocker he was, and even got results done that were good even despite the fucking war, and had to be authoritarian and other shit on the virtue of like, we gotta combat imperialism and we have to have vigilant eyes and minds and ears to root that shit out. And there was flaws and other shit when it came to Vietnam, like especially with the punji traps and all this other shit. Like it was brutal fucked shit. I'm not even gonna dog on that. Like, because there definitely was. It was fucked on, different fronts, regardless. But because war's hell. War never changes, right? But, like, at the same time, it's like, I mean, if I'm going to look at the leader of that nation, of Vietnam, or at least North Vietnam at the time, too, it's like, he just literally was better. And Diem, the South Vietnamese dictator, who was a Catholic nationalist extremist who literally was butchering Buddhists and slaughtering them on numbers in South Vietnam in a fascist fucking oppressive state. South Vietnam was literally a fascist state. And yet we wanted to prop that shit up with an extremist, like, ultra Vietnamese nationalist Catholic who wanted to exterminate Buddhists and shit. They have like some weird ethno-Viet supremacy with Catholicism wrapped around it. Like, we supported that guy. Minnesota's going to get conquered by some. The rest of the restaurant is already happening. No, it's not. We're all in hybrids, mostly retarded, though. Like Republicans in the off-world colonies, but without the powers. The enslaved Earths out there just like us. Well, that's a new take I haven't heard before. So you have like a panspermia theory that's also like okay. I mean, I can't really like dog on it that much. I just don't really believe it entirely, but okay. I mean, I don't disagree with the overall assessment. I just don't know if I agree we're all alien human hybrids because I don't think any of us are. But that doesn't mean that we are like have people in this world that are like quote unquote alienistic because of their detachment of humanity. You know, the class that like rules the capital and the money and the, you know, politicians that are also a part of that as well, you know. These sociopathic fucks that literally care nothing about their wealth and maximizing that. I guarantee you these people don't even care about wealth. They just care about their wealth and maximizing that shit. That's literally it when it comes to those you know, of the, you know, class that, you know, represents capital. That's literally is what represents this shit. Like every little like strain of the web of this fucking capitalistic orb weaver comes down to the center of it being the representative capital. Do you know about Elon's grandpa? I got a general good assessment about who he is, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't like a fucking Nazi. What are you smoking on? Herbs. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a salad. I'm not even gonna lie. It's kind of a mixture of different shit. I know this is very low on things to care about, but it still baffles me that Gordon Ramsay still can't make grilled cheese, right? No, it's not when he uses other people's recipes, so this makes use for Gordon. It's not just that, but when he made that one grilled cheese, we all know the video, right? Like, no, like, I'm not excusing that. I don't care if he got that from somebody else or anything. Like, he literally could be like, idiot sandwich, this is bullshit, here's to make a proper one. Like, nah. Like, nah, it's not excusable, bro. Like, but the thing is, Gordon Ramsay's also like, you know, Michelin star, like, you know, I hate to say it, but kind of like an elitist style chef. Like, basic core working class dishes, unless it's like a poached egg or something, like, or something simple like that, like, it's not going to fucking be on his forte, bro. It just isn't. Is redemption video, you put the grilled cheese in the oven. Which, you know what, I think can grant somewhat of a pass, but even then, that video was just shit. Because, yeah, maybe you do like a quick little pan sear to get that bread, you know, toasted up a little bit. But to make sure all that cheese gets nice and melted, especially all that butter, you know, and everything, you put it in the oven for like 10 minutes. Or some shit, for like 200, you know, degrees or something, right? Like, I can get it to a degree. Like, I can understand the process of maybe putting it in the oven for a little bit, but it's almost like, you know, you're searing a steak, right? You rapid sear it, you know, where you get that good sear, but to really cook it, you put it in the fucking oven for a bit. Like, that's an actual legitimate method of cooking and searing the steak, especially if you want to make sure it's guaranteed that medium rare or that medium that most people and rational human beings want. It's not impossible to do it without putting it in the oven. It is very much so. But as a little cheat, you know, that still works just as well. And if anything, maybe even better, because if you put it in a little pan, you got those juices. Just get a spoon, pull it out really quick, you know, and the halfway point, flip it over, and put the juices on that bitch. You know what I mean? Like, it's really, I can understand the idea with that, right? Like, when it comes to putting a grilled cheese in the oven, but it's like, It's like, does he have to have patience, so he just stands to stand for? Yeah, like, for real. I think that's part of it too. Ramsay donates to Zionist orgs. Oh man, don't tell me that. No, because I really do kind of have a somewhat positive opinion of him. Don't tell me that, man. God damn it. No, man. God. What the fuck, man? I was tricking a book. We don't want to jump people on being left, right, settler, tax, cost of living, digital ID, etc. Well, I do agree with you, by the way. Like, I genuinely agree. Yeah, we should be, I would, instead of taxes, I mean, that's the only thing I kind of a little about. It's more about where are those taxes going? I don't necessarily have a problem paying taxes. I just want to make sure those taxes are going to something that's actually good. Like, trying to, secure a decent, good social safety net for people so they can at least have a decent, comfortable standard of living. Or like healthcare, and shit like that. And, and including, different policies and different things where we can maybe mitigate the broader monthly or weekly cost of living to where we only have to pay like a 1 something, maybe 2% tax or some shit every year to at least help subsidize that a little bit. So then we have more money in our pocket throughout the fucking year or the week or the month and shit. You know what I mean? Like, little things like this do generally matter. And yes, digital ID, I do think is a fucking issue. I will say the concept of it, I'm not entirely against, but the way it is being executed and done is literally the exact opposite of what I fucking want. And I fundamentally am against that shit, and it's fucking insane. Because it's not there to protect the kids or be like, hey, help standardize, like government procedures, like, oh, you need to get a new physical ID, or you need to like re-register to vote because you moved somewhere or whatever the fuck, or maybe digital voting, or it's like you can't make it to the polls, you're in a position where you can't get it, a mail-in ballot in time. Well, let's outside, once you confirm who you are, via like a digital form, on for a government website, then you can just do your vote right there, and then it's just, once it's like, voting day, then it gets processed, for the vote count and all that shit. I mean, I am in favor of some shit like that, because I think that would be a helpful way for some people, to help streamline their means to be able to, at least for government business bullshit that they gotta do. Like, maybe they gotta get a new social security card because they lost it, or renew a passport, or get a new ID, all this other shit, right? Like, these things I think could help be streamlined and be easier for people to access if it was, having an ability of accessibility to be digital. I do think, there is a good merit to have some of that to a degree, but it needs to be a strictly governmental fact, of doing it. Just on the virtue of like, it's like they already got your information, right? And they also have it digitally. Like, I mean, what's the big deal to basically just say like, hey, let's just like, incorporate some elements of what we already do where you have to go in person for, and maybe digitalize it to a degree to where it's easier for people to do this. And maybe they still have to go in person to finalize some information, and also maybe as like a 2-factor authentication status of like confirm that this is like the changes that they made or whatever the fuck. All good by me. I mean, but like, I think if there's a way to make it easier for some people when it comes to certain shit that we obviously hate. We hate going to the DMV. We hate having to go to Social Security office because it's like bullshit and bureaucratic nonsense, right? Let's make it a little better and help streamline that a little bit. Because I'm absolutely in favor of shit like that. And that's just one thing, by the way. I mean, there's plenty of different things that we can, talk about with the, things that could, especially with taxes, be more efficient and actually, work. But I think ultimately that's at least just one little thing, just on a virtue of like, if you want to, especially, like secure voting, rights, and secure like, the integrity of that would be a part of, of it to an extent. I mean, when you have like, an ability to be like, yeah, we literally have like a full record of who the fuck you are and shit, like in the sense of you're just a basic citizen, this and that, there's a proof of identity and shit, which also should be free at the point of service. Like, it shouldn't cost us fucking money to prove that, yeah, we live here and yeah, we're a citizen of this country. It shouldn't have to cost anything for that shit. Or even if you're like a worker on a visa or shit like that, it should be free to point of service just to make sure that you have that like physical shit on you too. Everything. What the fuck are you what? What are you talking about, Sod? Hold on. I'm gonna go read back on your shit. Do what's best for illegals. Wow, so you're putting words in my mouth? Cool. So you're just basically talking to a fake fucking person at this point. Like, who are you talking to, dude? Enemies government corruption. Well, it's more of a root to it. Government corruption is built on the basis of capital because money enforces and supports that corruption. Vote for Joe Biden, dude. Don't put words in your mouth. That's what you did. Literally, no, I didn't. I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. So you're literally are putting words in my mouth. So, I mean, you guys voted too, and what do you get for your own far rights? Killed, so shut the fuck. Yeah, like you voted for this shit too, bitch. If you participate in the electoral process, then yeah, you voted for this shit, no matter what. Like, there's always going to be a level of culpability. Maybe you voted against it, and there's a little bit of a fucking good feeling there, but it don't change anything. Ultimately, you're voting for the same uniparty system that is fucking you. And I don't support that shit. Now, I will maybe, rationally understand that there's a quote-unquote lesser two evil factor, but that doesn't mean I'm going to inherently support, vote for that. I live in a close primary state that's locked in as a blue state. Do you think that, me voting third party is going to make a lick of a fucking difference? No, it's not. So that's what I do. I mean, that's my shit. I always vote third party and never Democrats or Republicans, at least on a national level, unless it's like local based politics. You know what? I will tell you this much. I have voted for a Republican once or twice, in different elections on local levels. And you want to know why, at least? Because they had more union support. The unions backed them up more because they at least still had more of an advocacy towards working class shit, even if it was lip service. They were more an advocate for the union. Because I'm a labor advocate. And if there's a candidate that has more union endorsements than the other, then that tells me that they're probably at least a little bit more favor of the working class. So, yeah. I mean, I got my own positions, and it's because I'm a trade unionist and a leftist on that front. And labor is, to me, first and foremost. And if there's a politician or anyone that doesn't want to fucking support that shit, then as far as I'm concerned, they're scab. There's someone who's against labor and against the working class. Which, by the way, shocker, that also includes undocumented and documented workers that come to this fucking country, too. Because as far as I'm concerned, their labor matters just as much. Because you think that undocumented worker, you think he's replacing some white man's job working the fucking, tilling the field for fucking corn or wheat or some shit? No. That's just bullshit. If you tell me otherwise, I'm going to know you're fucking lying. Because Billy Bob and his son, I'm guarantee you, aren't wanting to go till the fucking field for 12 hours a day. Regardless of their fucking wage and the benefits and whatever they get out of it. So, why not pay someone a little bit more, cheaply and just say, all right, well, we'll just, pay you like at half the cost because you're not a documented worker or have a visa. And even if you did, we can get away with, undercutting your pay anyway. Because that also happens a lot. And I've had, I've even worked with someone who had that happen to them back when I used to work at Safeway, where they undercut his pay despite literally having a work visa and coming here to be a naturalized citizen because he wanted to get away from his family because he wanted to live with his uncle. He liked his uncle and thought he was really awesome and wanted to live with him because he was already living here and is a naturalized citizen for a while and is, growing up, visiting him every so often and wanted to move out here, because, he'd rather be with him. And it's like, hey, I don't blame you, bro. Sometimes you got to give away family. That kind of sucks sometimes. And if you got a cool-ass family member and you want to live with them and they happen to be in a different country, you're goddamn right I'm going to take an opportunity to try to fucking just be with them instead. And they went through all the legal processes and they still get goat fucked on their labor and on their pay and being a worker here. Like, there's a problem there. Like, legitimately. I mean, shouldn't they get the same standard of benefits, labor, including also, unfortunately, couldn't be a part of the unit, but shouldn't they still at least get that base, sum as well? Because even like when I heard about that, I even brought up to the unions, like, oh yeah, he's not a part of it because of the work visa stuff. Like, he technically can't just because, until he's a full on citizen and shit like that. I was like, really? Is there not like something that could be done? Is like, we honestly, we would love to, but we just, our voice wouldn't really mean anything, unfortunately. I'm just like, fuck. Is there at least outlets I can tell him to go to? And it's like, oh, definitely. And he at least gave me that, so I forwarded that to him. And I just don't think really much came from it because he did at least get a job that was closer to where his uncle lived. Because he had to like take like 30 minutes to show up for work and shit because he was living with it. So it's like, I don't blame him for just getting the fuck out and at least, getting a job that was at least closer to where his uncle lived. Because he just wants to fucking have a basic fucking goddamn life and just grow up and be a dude. You know what I mean? Like, he was from fucking Ethiopia. It's like, he ain't some Hispanic guy, he ain't some other motherfucker. He literally, like, the worst thing I think he's ever done is that he's like, smokes weed. But you know what? Shocker. A lot of people smoke fucking weed. Who gives a fuck? Typical Jen Avel Two-Face voted for this Parks about that. What the fuck? So obviously you weren't like paying attention, evidently. And also, I'm not Gen Alpha. I'm a cusper from Millennial and Gen X or Gen Z. Fucking Millennial and Gen Z. I'm a cusper. Could look back at the census on the internet and forever regret it. Dude, I've been streaming for a long time. I don't regret one goddamn microsecond of any of it. Plenty of it I have done where I've also been fucking shit-faced and I don't give a fuck or regret it. You think I give a goddamn? I'm not like your typical goddamn fucking like, streamer where I'm like concerned about like my, presentation or something. Because I'm all real here, dog. That's what I'm about. The only thing I ever do is maybe embellish some of my personality just slightly. But beyond that, this about as real as it gets. Can't trust any politicians. Unions are corrupted to the core. The illusion choice is describable. Desirable. Well, hold on. Unions are corrupted to the core. Look, I'll tell you this much. One fact about that, by the way, is due to the fact that the solidarity of labor and what really makes the power of a union is the backing of their members and the workers. Like, unions have been neutered for a long time. But I will say this much, not just with the support of unions, but also like the, switch up a little bit. Like, even when I was a part of the AFL-CIO, United Food and Commercial Workers Local 555. Like, that's a national union, a part of the American Federation of Labor and Congress and Industrial Organizations, like, and a part of the United Food and Commercial Workers. Like, that's a national American union amongst a broad union organization. Like, yeah, and I will tell you this much. I am not a fan of the AFL-CIO. Like, I do genuinely think they are kind of corrupted, including, the national UFCW. Like, but at least my local, when I was part of that union, near the last half of my tenure, when I was working at Safeway for that time, did really start switching its tune up and even went as far to do strikes and to actually be somewhat radical and kind of go back to his fucking roots again. And it's still doing that. I still pay attention to my local union politics, even though I'm not in the union anymore. I put like 9+ years of my fucking labor in and my dues into that union. Like I'm still gonna pay attention to it. I still care about it. I don't want to make sure that they the workers of that union still get a good shot and good due. You know. That statement has so many errors in it. So I know. I mean, I always am legitimately willing to like kind of offer a hand to right wingers to like talk and shit. That's why I at least like Rick more because we can at least actually legit like have a back and forth. But like Sawdust, bro, like man, this is why I also have the jaded statement on top of this of being like, if the open hand ain't accepted, then there's no sympathy, there ain't no respect. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact. Because I don't got patience. Sorry. Listen to what I'm just trying to say, and honestly, have a back and forth with it, man. I'd legit would rather respect that a lot fucking more than this. Like, just saying. Because I want to at least see something there, because I could tell that you got something going on. I mean, honestly, give me something specifically about union shit. I'm sure you probably got, like, a clip about it. Since that is, kind of a recurring topic, at least overall. I'm sure you got something in that old noggin of yours. By the way, this also means that ISR one is upon you. I am saying that too. That's what I like to nickname when I focus on a person. The ISR one is on you. I've got to wait for that to fucking defoam. Ugh. I don't really fuck with either side, but at the same time, we all got problems fighting around that. It gets super repetitive then. Well, hence the whole divide and conquer. Like, that's why I always say, and maybe it is a trope, but there's no war but the class war. Like, it's about, the class struggle. And regardless of what your broader political philosophy is, whether it's right wing or left, that's ultimately the core of it all. And arguably, yes, that right left divide is legitimately a problem. Because, like, I haven't met different conservatives like, yeah, live and let live, who gives a fuck, where they're like kind of libertarian leaning, but still have these problems about people living their lives. Like, even if you, like, because I will look at it and be like, look, even if you really legit have an issue about it, why do you care so much? It doesn't impact you. They're doing their thing like you supposedly want to advocate for. Like, who gives a fuck? If you don't like it, you don't really got to be around it. Maybe you're at the bar, one of them, trans person or whoever the fuck happens to be there. I absolutely 1000% guarantee you, maybe they talk to you once and, you bump into them or something and you say, hey, what's up or some shit. Like, worst case scenario, that's what happens. To you, they're probably going to just treat you like any other fucking person at that bar, and you probably will too. And also, you probably might not even realize they're trans. Like, honestly. Like, I mean, so ultimately, it should never really fucking matter. Like, just let them live their fucking goddamn life, and who gives a fuck? Because this hyperfixation of like, oh, the bathrooms or kids, it's like, no, that's just not the case. Because like, why is it every time there's always like, an article about like kids being abused, it's like some Republican or some weird right-wing Christian pastor or some other shit? Why is it conveniently weirdly like the pedocon theory? Just like how gravity is a theory. Why is it always like that usually then? I also saw on Reddit too, and I even followed it up, with an article because it was a video that showed a man that was in a woman's restroom, and he was just straight a dude, not a trans man or a trans woman or anything, just a dude, and literally looked like just some weird like Gen X like chud bro like kind of shit. Like scruffy weird beard, kind of bare bellied out, like just weird shit. I'm like, what in the why are you in there? And the video was showing that like the door wasn't even locked when he was in the toilet or anything. He was just in there, like with the stall like unlocked, just closed enough to where it's like barely open. So obviously, some woman popped it open and saw him in there, freaked out, and that's how it started. Like that's just basically what happened. Because you know that fucking weirdo was probably going to try to grab some lady or some shit, dude. He was just sitting there waiting. Like I don't know how else to explain it besides that. But why is it like some weird fucking chud bro freako like that? You know, but conveniently enough, whenever there's like, suspiciously trans person, or maybe like even a woman or a dude who happens to be a little androgynous looking or some shit, they get freaked, called out on, even though they're just going to the bathroom that is actually like, of their assigned sex or some shit. In fact, even I work with trans people, two trans men. You know what they do? They go in the women's bathroom. But I don't give a fuck. I don't even bother to ask because I don't give a shit. I mean, I think in my mind, like, all right. But beyond that, like, what the fuck ever? I don't give a fuck. And frankly, I also prefer the women's room because at least our toilet at my workplace, that toilet in the women's room actually works really well. It actually has like a pressurized like flush and shit. So it's like if I gotta do number two, I'm going in there because at least it just like gets it out. Because like, in the men's room, the toilet in there just sucks ass. There are times I will literally, go in there and it's like barely any water down there, and the fucking like flush thing is literally like broken like down this, and I have to like press it or like flip it up or some shit, and then it like finally starts filling back up with water. It's ass. It's fucked. So I barely use the men's room unless I just have to piss because the urinal's around the corner anyway. So I just, I'll just go there if I got it. But if I gotta do number two, I'm going to that women's room. I don't give a fuck because the toilet just works in there. And you know what? They're both, for all intents and purposes, unisex bathrooms anyway. Like, the only difference is the men's room has the urinal in it, but beyond that, they're pretty much the exact same fucking format. They're the exact same bathrooms. So ultimately, like, who gives a shit? Like, that's why, especially when it comes to the whole bathroom problem, 99.9% of the shit would be solved if we just had unisex bathrooms. Just honestly. Like how my workplace has it. Yeah, they're technically like men's and women's, but just make them unisex, and there you go. Like, who gives a fuck? Yeah, maybe like one bathroom area has some urinals and the other one doesn't. But just make them all unisex. Like, and also have like stalls that are like fully sealed and closed. And you have your universal like wash station area where maybe you can have a camera there, but not in the actual bathroom spot, right? Or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think, there's a way to where we can, even with like big areas like stadiums and maybe even some bars and shit like that, like it's not that hard to just like slightly minorly retrofit these bathrooms to just make them all unisex and shit. Because really, who gives a fuck? They're there specifically to do your business. Like, I mean, that's the whole point of them. And I think so many of these problems would be solved if we just made bathrooms just in public unisex. And also, even maybe have public bathrooms every so often, like downtown areas. Like, you have like a public area where at least, every 6 hours, a worker comes over for the city that, maintains it and shit like that. Where it's like a little wash station / like bathroom area. I mean, little things like this can legitimately just help with so many of these problems. And also this isn't even a radical thing about like, trans shit. This is just like a human thing. We got our business we got to do. You know what I mean? Like, we got to piss, we got to shit, we got to do that shit. You know what I mean? Like, why make it more accessible to have spaces and places just to do it? Like, I mean, like, we're all there just to do our biz. I don't care. Like, I definitely don't want to do it in a bush or like wait in line at the men's room forever, because it'd be weird if I like wait in line in the women's one or some shit at a venue or whatever the fuck. Just make it all unisex. Like, come on, like, just who cares? Retrofit the shit up enough. It's not that hard. Like, in fact, I would even be okay with like the government investing in businesses and other places. Like, we can't really do it without like breaking the bank a bit. All right, well, you get a subsidy to help, do that, or something. I don't know. Like, I mean, honestly. I had to shoot a motherfucker for different reasons, throw bombs and shit. I mean, for real. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I also will say I do have a line in the sand to a certain degree, because I do believe in the idea that there is a paradox to tolerating intolerance. Because if you tolerate intolerance, then intolerance becomes so tolerated to the point where tolerance isn't tolerated anymore. If that makes sense. I mean, I hope it does because it did to me. Because the idea is that, like, if you allow intolerance to be so accepted and normalized, then tolerance, doesn't become more accepted because that intolerance ends up overriding it. It ends up becoming more of the dominant, like thing more so than not. And that's fucked. And we should at least have a line in the sand regardless. Because there are just definitely people out there that just want to be that. Like whether they're outright bigoted piece of shit, a genocidal maniac, a fucking fanatic of like, religious extremism where they think there needs to be like some global religious whatever the fuck it is. Like there are definitely people out there where it's like, nah, there's a line in the sand where you're just kind of a little TFG. That doesn't mean that like everybody is, and that doesn't mean that like, we shouldn't at least try to have that open hand, but we got kind of, the game recognized game thing, like we gotta recognize that like some people just aren't going to be capable of changing their opinion about certain things. And you know what, like on most stuff, that's okay. I mean, it's more about like, the extreme line in the sand about a lot of things, and at least I will say as a good example for me is like one's opinion on Israel. I really do think to me that's like a line in the sand because if you're like, oh no, what foamy? She's squirting. But if you're like a supportive of like the Zionistic like genocidal state of Israel right now, I'm literally like, fuck yourself. Like you don't see it, you don't understand. Like if you're so to this point still supportive of something like that, like I just don't have patience for you. Like you're just I'm gonna treat you like a dog. Actually, that's disrespectful to dogs because I like dogs. I'm gonna treat you like a fucking mosquito, or like a leech or a lesion on me. Like nah, like You're like a parasitical organism as far as I'm concerned. Like fuck that shit. I mean, and same thing when it comes to like the unequivocal MAGA Trump support. Like I can understand like conservatives maybe still supporting some elements of MAGA or this and that, but maybe not really being pro Trump as much or this or that, whatever. I mean, I'm still a little like about it, but at least we can have a back and forth, and maybe there's some fruit there, and because I want that. I do believe in contact theory. I mean, but at the same time, we gotta have a line in the sand, like because I don't want like this like picture from MAGA hyper weird like pedal defending shit or like the Zionist genocidal shit. Like this just cannot be normalized. There are certain things that should just not be allowed to be just normalized on the marketplace of ideas or whatever. Where it's like we all have to at least agree that that shit cannot be tolerated. Like we have to be having a line of sand about certain levels of tolerance here and being intolerant of that. I mean, because if not, then we're not going to really have like people genuinely like talking about some shit that even if we got disagreements, we're at least rooting it into the to the raw, broader brass tacks of it all. Like because if we're not at least having some baseline agreement with that shit, then I don't know. Like it's kind of hard to have it back and forth sometimes with that shit. There tends to be a pretty solid pattern over the course of history of the Jews. Nah, dude, it's not. Because historically they've been very much persecuted. I'll say this much. You'll probably think about like what money lending and stuff like that too. Like throughout like a lot of the medieval and a lot of early European history period where there was a lot of the Jewish diaspora in Europe. Yeah, like in the Torah and the Talmud and shit, like when it comes to the Jews, they had no problem with money lending and money handling and shit like that. But Christians, especially at that time, had really hyper suspicious superstitions about money handling and money lending and being a part of like different banks and things like that, or at least what would be considered banks at the time. And especially when it came to kings and like the monarchies and shit. And because there was like the idea that it was inherently, a level of sin that came with that. But to the broader, Jewish communities and the Jewish people, that wasn't really a problem. There wasn't anything that inherently said nothing against it. So more often than not, the ones who'd be running, a lot of finances and shit at the time, yeah, would be, the different Jewish people that would be living in these places. And the problem is, though, because of a lot of the pogroms during this time, with throughout different centuries over over the millenniums, was that these monarchs and these city states and these kings and shit, or even sometimes queens, would literally look at them and be like, "Well, I'm in strife. I need someone to blame. It was them," even though they're just doing their own jobs and just surviving and living, doing their own thing like anyone else was. But because it also had to, were in some way, in tandem with the monarch and the state, because of that money aspect of things. Because again, a lot of Christians were very much, suspicious, susceptible, being against that shit and not doing those type of work. Where, yeah, of course, who are you going to blame? The ones who are handling the money the most, which happen to be, the Jewish communities and diaspora of Jewish people, in these different communities and these different states and monarchies and shit. And these pogroms were all throughout, history and shit. It's not like some unique thing, but that what like it's literally just the circumstances of the times, including because of religious factors and cultural factors. It's not because like the Jews somehow like, are just inherently like all about money or whatever the fuck. Because I know a lot of different people who are Jewish, and that's just they're just not about that at all. Actually, shocker, they're just like you and me. They want to smoke weed sometimes, maybe hang out with their friends. They have their hobbies that they're interested in. Maybe go to the bar with their boys sometimes, once in a blue moon. Go out and date, a nice sweet woman or gal or whatever, or a dude or whatever. You know what I mean? Like like their Jewishness never really comes up outside the fact that they're like, yeah, Nazis are scum and they hurt my people and shit. Like beyond that, but also they say that like because of the Holocaust and these pogroms and all the death that's happened to us, I don't want to see that to anyone else, and no one should be going for that shit because it's horrible, fucked up shit. Which shocker means never again, no matter who they are. Hence why when it comes to Zionism and the Israeli state, I say fuck them because they think and they do a revisionist idea about this where it's like, no, actually, never again means never again for anyone else, but we get a pass because it happened once to us. So we at least get one pass. So fuck those Palestinian Arab dogs and shit. And the Lebanese too. And the Iranians. And pretty much anyone that isn't us. Starting to sound familiar? Because I'll tell you this much too. There's a legit historical precedent fact that the Nazis not only helped in the very early days when they took power with the British, capital class suit, by the way, and Zionist philosophers, as well, in funding, different early terrorist organizations like the Lakhmud, and shit in Jerusalem and in this, modern day Israel now and Palestine, where these hyper extremist, Judaic Zionists and Jewish Zionists would literally, be imported or even like purposely settle over there. And they got a lot of guns and munitions that mysteriously came from England and Germany too. A lot of machine guns, a lot of Lee Enfields, Sten guns, MP40s, shit like that. Wonder where they got that from. Interesting. Not just that, but that was literally because of the very first levels of, the broader get Jews out of Germany philosophy that the Nazis had. They literally had a weird, like, quote, liberal Nazi version of what they were doing because they're like, we'll do this first. Oh, but we're expanding so much now, the ones we deported are now like what we're taking. Well, we got to put them somewhere else. That's where the camps came from, and then the death camps, because they truly believed in getting them out of the broader Aryan lands. But that also meant that they support the idea of them going to their broader Jewish land as a means to an end, ultimately to eventually conquer that anyway. It's just easier to have them all lumped in one spot. Nazis had their own weird idea about this whole agenda when it came to that shit. That's why they funded it, at least, for a little bit, to help, the British, at least get some of them, moved into England. Because also England wasn't exactly pro-Semite and pro-Jewish either at the time. Yeah, by the way, because they were looking for an excuse, which a lot of these Zionist revisionists were helping justify this as well and pitching it to the British government at the time. With Neville Chamberlain, and he was in support of it. But because of the Nazi shit too, as a way to appease them and hopefully calm the Nazis down, because fuck you, Neville Chamberlain, he allowed a lot of them to be, deported into England so they could be moved into Jerusalem and then basically radicalize a bunch of them. Like, it's literally the protocols of Zion shit that a lot of Nazis like to mention as some weird, like, quip about Jews and shit, when it's like, hey, isn't it weird that you all literally, and Hitler literally, and the Nazi party and their government funded that shit? Isn't that a little interesting that happened, though? So you want to obfuscate from that shit and just say some Jewish thing, and like Zionist revisionists themselves want to lump all Jews in this shit. But you have your own weird agenda about it. It's very interesting. Because, like, the whole, like, Protocol of Zion shit literally was for a long time seen as literally just some Nazi shit. But if you, like, literally take, like, 5 minutes just to delve into it enough, you realize that, like, they legitimately helped fund that. I don't know, let me talk political and show me how it irritates me. Well, I mean, because I will say, like, the main principle of my channel is to kind of be like a political / philosophical like outlet. Because I will like dive for YouTube shorts, lives myself, and so many of them are just insane. And maybe even people who are curious, or I'm like, "What's your politics about stuff?" And they're like, "I'll get into like a little bit, but not a lot." I'm like, it's like, come on. I actually want to like, get your take, because I can already tell I can like them and shit, but I just want to be like raw as fuck. But that's why I like to be kind of raw as fuck. And also, like, in a weird way, because it's always seen as like a quote unquote conservative thing, I like to try to tell it like it is. But I think that's also why conservatives don't like that and they get so fucking triggered, at least by me especially, especially for like the first hour when I do these streams, because it's like, I mean, it really gets under their grill sometimes, because I do tell like it is, and at least I have, some of the facts to back it up. I don't got facts to back that up. What was that guy's name? Oh my god, like that infamous quote. At least I ain't like that guy. And you know what? Yeah, I'll bro science it out. I won't like know every goddamn little detail. I'll even admit that. But like the general details, if you really are curious enough, you could probably get enough of the gist to look it up on your own and realize that like at least I'm not saying bullshit, Maybe you don't have to completely agree with it or not, that don't matter. That's okay. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, there are some people out there that are not voiced, and it's like, the fuck this internet. I mean, yes, people get triggered, but at the same time, you shut down everything because you get triggered. Yeah, and 100%, yeah. I got thick skin, like, and there were times where I could tell, especially, like I said, for that first hour, there's a lot of rage bait, trolling, just bullshit, where I'm literally sitting here like, where's real people that I can talk to? Oh my god. Why are troglodytes and bots and other shit like hit me right now? Oh my god. That's the curse of starting to like, grow as a channel. Like, that's just gonna happen more often. And I'm gonna have to like figure out a way to somehow neuter that. I don't know. But man, like, for real, like, it is just ridiculous. Like, yeah, it is the internet, but it's interesting because, like I said, I got the thick skin, but sometimes, man, you gotta like fucking really like, like cut the weeds down a little bit, So it depends. Yeah. I mean, I will say, I've been a troll. I mean, I like to do Ligma jokes and stuff like that, and fuck your mom jokes and shit. Like, I'll do that. Especially if I'm in, like, a good, kind of joyous little jester mood. Like, I'll kind of get on a roll with fucking with trolls occasionally. I'll even admit, like, I think there's legitimately been a few trolls that, have, like, quote, stopped trolling outside of maybe doing it just in a more playful way, just because, like, I actually respect you. Kind of, like, went back and forth for my trolling. I respect that. I'm like, yeah, because game recognized game. I've done it too. And it's actually, in a weird way, nice when there's a good troll that you can find. Or like someone that has like a good ligma. I'm like, oh, you bastard, you got me. You know what I mean? Like, or some shit like that. It's actually kind of nice, but it is like literally like the biblical verse of like, it's easier for a camel to go for the eye and kneel than a rich man to go to kingdom of heaven. But instead, it's easier for a camel to go into eye and needle than for a troll to do the proper art of the ligma. You know what I mean? It's like, and I have to sit here and be like, why is it like almost every stream, not every stream, but like damn near almost, in the first hour, I literally have to do like a professor style lecture online to trolls to be like on the art of the ligma 101. Because it happened earlier, and I was like, literally within the first 30 minutes. I think even in the first 10, not even the first 30. I was just like, bro. It's like, can you give a shout out to my friend, huge ass? I'm like, dude, that is such an obvious ligma. Like, I'm not even responding to it because I'm so sick of it. It's like, dude. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, no one knows how to do a good ligma. No one knows how to do a good troll. It's such a diamond. And I have to at least respect the game when I see it, and I feel like that's how some trolls get kind of real with me and butter up because, like, man, like I said, I've been through the trenches. I grew up being a troll. I was a nasty little troll, even when I was, like, before a teenager. Like, I was on YouTube in, like, 2008, 2009 and shit with a old school-ass account. Back when they had, like, full-on, like, old-school, like, email-style DMs and shit. Because there was just like this one weirdo British dude who I guarantee was probably a pedophile. Because I literally was like, yo, I'm literally underage and shit. And he was like, oh, but you're totally gay though. So, and started going off about like his knob and shit. And I was like, yeah, you're totally gay and a pedo. I could easily report you to the FBI or stuff. And, lol. And then as a kid, because I was a goody two shoes, I actually kind of did. I have no idea if anything came from it. I legitimately didn't because nothing really ever did come from that, but I was just like, well, hey, that guy never came back at me again because it's like, yeah, you're definitely gay and a freak and like a pedo, and also like you probably want to like, like be like a weirdo that wants to like, just like, being alone in a corner in a closet, just like finding a little kid, like cuddling his mom or something, you little freak, or some shit. I mean, I was like 8 at the time, but that's like, my proto beginnings of being a troll. I was doing shit like that back then. But over the years, it got honed in and harnessed, and I learned from the University of the, Dr. Ligma himself. And eventually, all that experience and everything from that humble beginning to all today, it's just like, yeah. I remember even back in the day when I first became a furry, there was a bunch of trolls that went on my channel at the time, and they were like, yeah, if you're like, you would easily be gassed as shit, blah, 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 like if you were like found or whatever, but not. I was like, well, actually, I literally like be history nerd bitch and like shut them down on the virtue of just like, actually guy. And there were a few of the trolls that would hit me up, during that time, like being like, yo, you actually kind of roasted the fuck out of them. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Like, well played, low key. I'm like, actually, thank you and respect, a little bit, because I was like, hey. Says you to bring back the dislike button. I mean, I agree, honestly. Just because that's like another version of a monkey button that helps me in the algorithm. I mean, I hate the fact I took it away. Dislike you for some sauces. Blue clown. Cool, good for you. Talk awful to for a guy that looks like Marshall. I'm literally just talking about my past. And just talking about trolling and shit, dude. Why do you take it so personally, dog? I mean, I'm literally just talking about when it comes to trolling shit. Like, I'm not even, like, going off about you specifically or anything. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, man, someone got a little butthurt over that. And honestly, unironically, like, a quote-unquote tough guy doesn't need to literally be, like, a physically tough guy. Sometimes they could just literally have, like, decent, good started, mind. A tough mind and a tough, constitution, you know what I mean? A storyteller and a liar, goofball. Well, I'm not lying. I am a storyteller, but I'm not lying about any of what I'm talking about. Never had dad to tell you a story ain't real. What are you fucking talking about? Huh? What? Got mad at me, sorry for triggering you. I'm not triggered at all. What? Arguably, I'm more looking at, like, JP being like, what is his deal? Triggered? No, I'm not. I'm more confused. Never had a dad to tell your story ain't real. Like, what the... Can you, like, have better grammar? What the fuck are you trying to get at, dude? Poke? Poke, cabrón? Because you're surreal? Yeah, because your grammar ain't really good. There's been foreigners in this goddamn chat from, like, India and, like, Japan and other places and shit that have better fucking English grammar than your ass, bro. The way you said tough guy made you sound like you were John Soprano. Yeah, you old tough guy, I'm fucking walking over here. Go back to fucking Jersey, you mon. Oh! Go back to fucking Jersey. What the fuck are you on about? I'm walking over here, you fucking mook. Oh! Oh! Really enough, I probably could play, like, a decent, like, blonde Italian or something. I probably could do that. Just be, like, some, like, hitman that eventually gets offed in, like, some Soprano movie. Or some shit. Or just, like, any mafia movie. Timu Dice Clay at best. Oh my god, man. Do better than that. Also, like, my guy, Dice Clay, out of all the people, like, come on. You could do better than that, you sad fuck. Come on. I'll give you a second shot. I feel like there's a few other actors / characters that you could probably take from me, that isn't Dice Clay. Come on. I know you got something in you. People like to make classes like 6 mandatory. I'm an advocate for making that shit mandatory. Like, what are you saying that they shouldn't? Because, yeah, children literally should, have some baseline sex ed at a certain point in age. Just on the virtue of being like, hey, you should know that these are, like, quote unquote, like, no squares. And you don't want someone, doing that. you know, and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like sex ed is actually a good thing. What do you think? That's like some like, you know, dog on me, bro. Like, I'm an advocate for that. And by the way, I don't want to be around children. They're fucking annoying and really ridiculously absurd. Dude, at my workplace, I literally had like some family freak out on us because their little toddler literally ran around in the back of our fucking line and literally was near our fryers and shit. And I had to like kind of push the kid away. And then someone else had to grab, you know, one of my shift leads, so they had to grab the kid and pull him out of the fucking, you know, back of the employee area, especially by fryers and shit. I'm like, what the fuck are, like, what? You know, and also the parents literally and the whole family was getting at us about him, like, and even our shift was like, nah, you can go. Y'all can go now. Like, we're not taking your order anymore. You can leave. Because that's some bullshit. Because, like, you just let your kid run around everywhere and then run behind our fucking line near fryers and shit. And I'm sitting here like, whoa, kid, you stop right there. And then my shift lead literally grabbed the kid's hand and, like, yank that kid and be like, oh, hell no. You're getting out. Like, no, fuck them kids. I don't want to be near that shit. It annoys me and pisses me off. And, I don't even want to get into it, dude. I'm sorry. This is how you know I don't want to, like, again, fuck them kids. I don't want to be near them. I don't even like it when it's like, hey, I'm like 17. What's up, bro? I'm like, nah, bro. Like, this is 18 plus. Adults are talking. And arguably, I'd rather be 21 plus, frankly, if that was an option. I'd rather treat this like, you know, almost like kind of like a weird underground, like speakeasy bar as far as I give a shit. We all know you're not around kids anyway. I actively literally want to not be around kids. Like, how would I have some record or some shit, you know, when it comes to children, when I literally actively want to avoid them? Were you a bully in school? No, actually. Well, technically, yes, actually, because there was a totem pole of bullying. I was bullied, but I also took that out on other kids, too. So, yeah. Fake personality? You wish. What, you think, like, you know, when I turn the stream off, I'm just like, oh my god, these fucking people, or some shit. Like, what the fuck do you think? Like, what do you think in there, Godridge? Because I'll tell you this much. This is about as real as it goddamn gets. The next stream that you skippity scroll from off of this stream is going to be more fake than my shit. I'll tell you that much. And I'm not even trying to brag. I'm just saying that I don't fake who I am here. I just am being a real person. What I say is who I am. Like, I really honestly don't even understand, like, the whole, like, weird idea, like, what, someone can't be, like, just true of themselves, you know, on this type of shit, because it's a thing. But you roam around and play things in the back of your head when you're off stream, just saying. Nah, that's when I wake up in the morning. When you get the morning wood, you gotta take care of it, you know what I mean? But, no, I want food. I just, like, gorge myself with some dank and have a food coma while I watch a movie or, like, a podcast or some shit like that. You know, my night is just like, nah, I just want food and sleep. That happens in the morning when I wake up and I'm like, what it would. Ain't going away. I should take care of that. What's a good thing to, like, watch? At least put something in my mind so I can be like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. You know what? Even if I did do that, problem? Is that a problem there, buddy? Like, wow. A human adult has the human desire to, like, have pleasure sometimes, and they do that, you know, to themselves. Who gives a fuck? Why do you care? Why are you thinking about that about me? Why? Do you want to see me, like, on OnlyFans or on Pornhub or something? You know, like, what's up there, bro? It's a little weird there, buddy. Just saying. I don't know why you're thinking about that. Unless you happen to be a little closeted, but I am bisexual, so I'm just saying. If you happen to be a little bit of a closeted little queer, that's okay, because I'm an open, proud queer myself. So, it's okay, man. There ain't no harm in it. Be free. Be free, and do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Aleister Crowley, come on now. Yeah, the emoji laughing and the dance emojis or whatever you're doing, like, I mean, that's not really much of a rebuke. In a weird way, that kind of is starting to kind of validate my shit a little bit, bro. User honor. Man, I kind of like to cut your jib. User unknown. So that's a very corny name, by the way. Like, yeah, Sawdust. Like, you're not even like the wood chips or like the 2x4. You're the literal sawdust in the remnants. You know what I mean? Like, my guy. You're like the byproduct that no one wants, that they sweep up with a broom. You know what I mean? Like, why sawdust, my guy? Dance party up in here. We could dance when we want to. We could leave the world behind. If your friends all dancing and they want to dance, then they ain't no friends of mine. We could dance when we want to. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, down, 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 bam, bam, down. We dance, we dance, we dance, bam, 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 down, bam, down. Down, 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 down. Bam, bam, down, 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 down. Bam, bam, down, 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 down. Bam, 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 bam. Dude, that song literally actually goes hard as fuck. Honestly, I don't even know why, but that song has literally been like in my head like a brainworm all fucking day today. And there's literally been like 3 songs all day today that have been brainworms. It's that one. It's so it's like Safety Dance. It's The Guillotine by the Co-ops, I think, or the Coup. One of the two. And then it's Slow Learner by the Viagra Boys. Because Slow Learner literally got like such a fucking groove, dude. Slow Learner, put them out of read. Slow Learner, put this out of the. You know, it's just like, dude, like for some post-punk, like Swedish, like punk shit is like, oh. And dude, also like it's beat per measure is literally in 10/4 or some shit. It's like in such a weird time progression where it's just so good, dude. He was in high school, was only 2. Didn't tell him more and do something else to do. So like, dude, that song goes fucking hard. Wrong with Sawdust. You can't do fuck all with it besides it being like a work hazard when it comes to like, you know, woodworking factories. I could tell you so many different like OSHA videos I've seen at like lumber mills and shit where it's like there's, you know, no one cleans up the sawdust and suddenly like a tiniest spark lights up and then literally the entire place just like whoop, just becomes like a fire zone of just like hell just suddenly like the literal gate of hell just combusts upon, you know, the entire fucking scene. Like I don't like yeah. Arguably there's a lot of problems with sawdust, especially when it comes to like a work safety standard shit. And yeah, shocker. Yeah, I like me some OSHA. Shocker. Because OSHA actually has some merit. And funny enough, though, when OSHA shows up and I, as a worker, happen to be there, yeah, I fucking hate them because they're very nitpicky about literally every fucking little thing. I get it. There's a I'm like, there's a two-side coin with that shit. But man, when there's a grievance that needs to be done and a worker calls that shit out, you goddamn right, it's probably merited. In fact, that actually happened at my roommate's workplace when he's working at Domino's because there's one store that the AC units failed and there was literally people passing out and having heat illness where a worker there literally called OSHA and an OSHA agent showed up and shut that store down until they had that shit repaired basically as soon as possible since yesterday. And today, because they haven't fixed it quite yet, also it's a weekend, so I'm not really too shocked that has, not happened yet. But basically, like those people from that workplace are working at my friend's work spot. So it's like quote unquote too many cooks in the kitchen slash like, too many people in one workplace where it's, unintentional like some competition shit basically. You know what I mean? Like but you know what? Silver lining though, yeah, maybe that store deserved to have OSHA called on them. Yeah, it's kind of a little fuck thing again because of OSHA. Now everyone else suffers a little bit from it because these people aren't going to be losing their jobs. They obviously are still going to be working. And the closest store it happened to be the one he's working at. So it's just circumstances. But that doesn't mean it's forever. But it is a little shitty though. It's one of those things where yeah, it kind of sucks, but you know what? That's kind of the thing about OSHA. It's like yeah, sometimes it might suck in the short term, but in the long term, it means that there's better working conditions and standards. That type of shit. And arguably, to me, I'd rather that no matter what, even if it is a pain in the ass for the short term. Only do you two know each other? Yeah, we've known each other since high school. Been close friends since sophomore year. We were acquainted with each other since freshman year, but we didn't really like know each other until about like sophomore to junior year in high school. But we all were mutual friends with even friends that I had since middle school, so it just kind of was meant to be supposedly, I guess. I will say, even though I'm like on a lease with my roommate because he's the one who's like the name under with this apartment now. There's a lot of times where I've helped him where he's lived with me for a long, for different times and shit where he didn't have a place either. So it's like, you know, for a long time, for well over a decade, we've been helping each other out. Like using sawdust. Oh well, I don't. Well, them I don't fucking know. Sawdust doesn't have a friend. Well, how come then someone's saying that they're your homie? Evidently, you must have. Just spread love. I kind of figured. You seem kind of like, one of those types. But you know what? We need people like that. Find feel love. Well, I'll tell you this much, man. If you've been sticking around for this long, I must not have that big of a problem with you. Because ultimately, like, yeah, we might, have our back and forths or whatever the fuck. There's a little hash, but I got thick skin. Who gives a fuck? It really takes a lot for me to be like, nah, you're kind of done. You know what I mean? Like, and you really didn't get close to that metric at all. Just saying. Like I said, it's kind of like a game recognized game kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'm always willing to at least always have an olive branch, extended out. But here, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Be right back. But if anyone wants to, like, share, and all that fun stuff, and I shall return pretty shortly. Bada bing, bada boom. I has goggles. The beans have been quiet. Jazzle! Hey, little chump. Up, 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 up. Jazzle! Up. Jazzy up. Jazzle! Wow! Chunk. Oh, little chunk. Well, damn, Vito. Your fucking tail, Jesus. Vito, potato, you little potato boy. Oh, well, now you got all Jazzy activated. Oh, my lord. These chunks. Oh, it's been like 3 or 4 days since they've been at the beach, and they still smell like a beach. They literally still smell like ocean. You smell like a crab. You smell like ocean crab. You smell like a Dungeness crab, Jasmine. You literally smell like sand, ocean, and Dungeness crab. I can tell that you were having a lot of fun at the ocean. Because that scent has ingrained in you. Oh shit. Oh shit. I heard kibble going in the food bowl. Now Jesse's like, oh hell yeah. I want some of that. Look at her. She's like, oh hell yeah, give me some of that. Vito boy. Vito. Here, I gotta show you off too. I mean, come on now. Vito. Oh my god, you're insane. Come here, Vito. Wow. You boy. You crazy boy. Oh. Oh, you're okay. You're fine. Oh my lord. You're insane, Vito. You crazy boy. Hold on, I'll let him out. Oh my god. Oh, they bum rushed that shit. Oh my god. The stampede. Holy shit. crazy little fucks. He's a handsome boy. Usually he's a lot more chill, but he kind of went a little. He heard the food. He was like, "I want the fuck food, bro." Like he went like psycho mode. Jazzy's a lot more of the chill one. She's like, "I guess this is my fate, but I will resist this." Kind of. Stop, cutie. Oh, little Jack. I know she is a little chunk. It's probably cliche to be about him. So you may say earlier, so yeah, I made me soup. So with Alaska, I'm a quite quintessential Alaskan. Well, yeah, to be in Alaska, you kind of need a lot of facial hair, beard shit to kind of, be warm and kind of like have the true authentic Alaskan status a little bit. Unless they're like indigenous, because I know indigenous people usually don't grow facial hair, so unless they're like a Native American indigenous of Alaska and or something, like yeah, you don't really got much of an excuse if you live up there. Other stuff we appreciate with a S/O. Huh? What's up, Erica? What's up? What's up? Good song playing right now. Oh, that's a dead bowl. It would be a little unfortunate to try to smoke a dead bowl. Oof. Man, Damage goes hard as fuck. I love Damage. It's all dirt. Hey, I could be friends with plenty of people that could be quote unquote old as dirt. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So you just don't know if the emotions. I think they're fucks with it. With it. Alright. Shit, I've already seen Damage once live. I even got her album too. Her recent album, Kill the Radio. It's a pretty dope ass fucking album, I'm not even gonna lie. Oh, and I also got that bitch ass signed. Oh, and I also kept the stickers that I got from it in there too. But I got that shit signed. Not just with Damage, but also with Amber Ryan too, because it was like kind of a collab album between the two. And dude, this album actually legitimately fucking slaps. I will say, between Girl You Look Good and Kill the Radio and Brazilian, personally, between me, those are my 3 favorite songs off of this album. But to be fair, though, every song off this goddamn album slaps. They all slap. And Damage is touring again in Portland, and I'm like, shit, I gotta go to that show. It's gonna be, I think, in October. So I'm thinking, honestly, I'm going to probably try to go to that show before I go to Montana. So I'm thinking like, oh, fuck, that's going to be interesting. But also, I'm going to try to go to a show in Montana with my sister and maybe see her husband's band that's playing. Just on the 18th. So I'm going to see. Video Killed the Radio Star. Hey, Radio 1 AI, then the radio die. You know, like, dude, honestly, you might like the song Kill the Radio by Damage, Kage. Just saying. It's a good song. It's almost like kind of a rap variation and a modern commentary of the similar fucking theme with Video Killed the Radio Star. Oh, you know what? It was also, like, I just remembered. Like, didn't MTV start with that as, like, its music video, like, and shit for that TV station? And then, before it wrapped up, the last, like, music video song that they did was also that same song, you know, before the band retired and shit. Like, honestly, to me, that song does kind of have a little bit of symbology and commentary to me in a sense of just like, man, like, especially with MTV in a weird way, because like, man, like, MTV started with that shit and then it literally died with it, and it's a weird commentary being like, yeah, we kind of killed it, and kind of like, you know, it's like one of those things where it's like, fuck. You know, they, I think, realized mistake, but it was too far gone, so they had to at least try to put a bow on it, and it was kind of really respectable in my mind. In a way, it's like, you know, like, the fact that it all started with that shit and then it wraps up with that, it's, despite, you know, their age, it's like, man, that there's some symbology there, you know, and I look at it and I like respect it in a weird way. I mean, it's not like the way I wish I'd like to see MTV go, but shit, if it had to go, that's the way I think the best way it could have gone, given circumstances. Cause so shitty, cause like it could have revived itself, you know, with different things, especially for like local artists and regional artists and like obscure artists and shit. But that's why I got like KEXP and, you know, like the what's it called, like by PBS, the fucking I forgot exactly what it's called, but like Napalm Death just recently did like a little set with it. I mean, it got like all these little obscure, like little independent, you know, radio kind of related shit, but it's just not necessarily the same. It's still good and great, but it's just not the same though, you know? That OG energy just ain't gonna be there like it used to. But, you know, the new energy that is there now, I will say it's optimistic to me. I mean, whether it's like house show punk shit that I grew up with, you know, especially being a punk and a ska head myself, on top of being a metalhead, I mean, like, there's a lot with how much, you know, certain shit has died, but yet has like really evolved in a way where I'm kind of glad it did. But it's still not that OG shit, you know? Not the way it used to. Even from my ass growing up, you know, with the 2000s to 2010s and exploring shit like this, even as like, you know, a kid, you know, or even like a barely just becoming an adult, you know. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like you never realize like how good you kind of had it with that shit until it's just not there anymore. Because a lot of these house shows and a lot of places I used to, you know, go to when it came to these shows and shit are just they're just not a thing anymore. But like I said, the energy's different now, and in a way, it's better for it. It's just weird. It's a weird like melancholy, you know, kind of like Bedfellows in a way, you know, where it's like, on one hand, I wish it was kind of old school as fuck like it used to, but that old school energy is still there, but just in a more, I don't know, like established format, I suppose. Because of a lot of the energy that is there, but yet the popularity of it, so thus it kind of grants it being in those places, whether it's at like, you know, local mini bar venue places like the Twilight Cafe in Portland, for example, or some shit like that. Or maybe even something more established like the, you know, the Nova or like the Hawthorne Theater or some shit like that, or even Dante's, you know, like, I mean, hey, if that's the case, then you know what? It's still raw as fuck, and if anything, at least I have an accessible place to get some good drinks. I just wish it was the BYOB, days like of old, of good old yore, Not so much the case anymore. Unless you're sneaky with it. I've done it a few times before. Little Stranger, Portland, August 27th. Well, I don't know who Little Stranger is, so I probably won't see them. I don't know, maybe I'll check out their music. If I dig it enough, maybe I'll say fucking and take a chance on it. Especially if I already have like my weekend, around that day. Actually, here, let me see what. Let me just look at the calendar with my little Wi-Fi phone. Where's the calendar on this bitch? Wait, this does have a calendar? Oh, wait, no, it does. Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah, that's a work day for me. But that's also the week after my birthday. I'd be low-key asking for too much from my boss, I think. Because I'm already, in October. Oh, shit. Because there's... Oh, my God. I actually unironically could probably make 2 shows in one with my sister in Montana. I show up on the 11th on Wednesday, and I just leave on the 19th on Monday the next week. Oh, my... Okay, I need to talk to my sister about visiting Montana about that one, because that actually would be absolutely fucking perfect. I would literally do that. I don't give a fuck. And then there's the DFF meetup on, I think, the 5th, and that's going to be a whole trip. And then there's... Oh my god, that's actually literally a week and a half away to go see fucking goddamn Rush. Oh my fucking... Okay, wow. Okay, there's a lot of things that are going to be happening here pretty soon. Outside of a few concerts that are happening in September, which Psychostick is playing in September, I think on the 26th. I think. Which, what day is that? I need to double check on that one. That's a Saturday. It's either that or the 21st. It's one of those 2 days. The Gorillaz made me laugh on MTV. They were really crude, but funny as fuck. Well, yeah, I always fuck around with the Gorillaz. Kevin and John's Shields are cool. Little Stranger's a good duo. Oh, Kevin and John. Oh, so it's like a brother duo or something. You know what? Here, let me turn on my Wi-Fi hotspot. I'm just gonna look them up. Fuck it. Let's just do it right now, real quick. Because I was thinking about here getting food and stuff soon, but you know what? Why not? Why not check it out a little bit before we do a full-on outro and shit? You know what I mean? I just gotta wait a little bit until this finally. Yeah, I'll know when it starts spamming notifications. Okay, it's a good song, but nope. Oh, I'm turning this one up. This is a good one. It's Portland band too. Bridge City Sinners. Give us some time while we load this up. Listen to this. She made survival over. And never find a motherfucker like me. All right, looks like I found something. You know, I will say this much. What's a good song that I should play by them? Bridge City Sinners are awesome. I've seen them live twice. And Libby Lux, man, she is a fucking talent, dude. And the story she's told about, you know, her struggle in Portland, especially their times, you know, like literally being homeless on the Burnside. I literally would like listen to that shit and like, wow, that is literally some raw Portland shit. I mean, hence the band name, Bridge City Sinners, because of Bridge City. Portland's known as Bridge City. Or Rip City, you know, another way too. I'm so glad that, you know, Bridge City Center is such a beautiful representation of like our art and music out here because man, like I mean, you haven't really like truly have seen Portland unless you like, you know, really been a part of like the real true scenes and culture around here. Like just walking around and then yeah, you see like a tweaker, like yeah, you find yourself in a place where you unfortunately there's a lot of shit, whatever, which every urban city has, by the way. In fact, I will even admit Minnesota and Minneapolis unironically has it worse, in my opinion. The shit and like and all that, like being all throughout, like the city was honestly a little bit, in my opinion, more rampant. Because there was one time where we were taking transit, and then straight up, like my you know, because my friend, you know, had a handicap because he fucked his ankle up, so he had to have like a small cast and be on crutches or a wheelchair some of the time while we're hanging out at this time. And we had to take an elevator, and dude, someone literally pissed and shit in that elevator, and all of us were like, "Oh, bro, this is bad." And I'm literally sitting here like having to hold my breath, doing this with all the layers of my clothes, literally trying not to puke. And you know what happened? Once we got out of the elevator, I fucking puked because I literally like every like my lungs, my gut, every all the particulates of whatever fucking disgusting filth was just there. I just had to sit there and suck them, and my body was like, "Fuck no, we are done." And it's just a problem for me. Like I don't know what it is, man, but like I am so sensitive to that shit, even for myself. There are times where I'll like wake up in the morning, I'm like, "Oh, I got a gnarly one," and then I'll take like the tiniest whiff and be like, "Whoa!" And then I'll just like, "I got it." It's like, nope, I'm puking now, and I have to like rapid fire speed run, you know, clean up some stuff, and then like literally flush, flip that shit up, you know, with the seat, and just like just hold back for a minute till that water fills up, and then just like, because it's just, ugh, I just can't handle that. I literally can't handle anything when it comes to smells like that. I just literally cannot at all. You know what? I am genuinely glad that I can't, because then at least you know for a fact when it comes to certain kinks, I will never be into that shit. Like ever. No pun intended with the shit. But I'm just saying, like, because it literally is such a reviling, revoltful fucking thing. It's just bad, dude. I just can't handle it, dude. It's literally just whether it's like a subconscious biological. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's infathomable to me. I can't do it. I mean, and I worry about the day that I have to go into like my work, clean up like the bathroom one day, and there is literally just like some homeless streaker fuck that just like fucked that bathroom up. You know what I mean? Because that has actually happened before. Not when I've worked there, but I've heard stories, and apparently there's one nicknamed the Reaper, where he's literally have done this before. I'm just like, bruh, I have to worry about this now. Like, what the fuck, man? Luckily, so far, the few homeless people that come up asking for like food or maybe a cup of water or maybe use the bathroom for a second have actually been chill. And I actually, even before working there, kind of know them a little bit, weirdly enough. So I'm like, I know that the chill ones. Outside of the ones I haven't met before, these ones at least are pretty chill. And I'll be like, "Hey, do you got like spare food or something like that?" You know, they'll ask about that. You know, not being mean. You'll be like, "Hey, it's okay if I have a cup of water. And do you have like any leftover food that never got sold or picked up or anything, and I'll look over and I'll be like, it's been there since noon. It's like 7 o'clock. I'll be like, hey, I can't do it here, but if you want, meet me around the corner. I'll give you a cup of water. Here's a little, water cup for you. Hang out here for a sec, but I'll give you like a little nod real quick, grab this for you and go around the corner. I'll let my coworkers know and be like, hey, be right back. And you can have this, but I mean, there's like a little thing with it. As long as they respect it, then it's all good. And, like, that's how we kind of do it a little bit sometimes. Because, like, I mean, the same people will come by and at least be respectful and chill about it. And it's like, if we got something, sure. And I even mentioned, it's like, hey, I know, this homeless guy, I've seen him around a lot. Like, this one's at least okay. Let me handle this one. Or they'll tell me about some homeless people that come by and be like, all right, and they'll tell me, be like, hey, that one in particular is all right. If we have spare food, just let them know, meet around the corner in like the back, like exit area with like the maintenance, door and shit, where we take our garbage out and shit. Basically just meet them over there, essentially. Not in the front door or nothing like that, but like on the side area, shit like that. Because honestly, it's like, to me, that's fine because they're, as long as they're being chill, respectful about it, that's okay. And they even mentioned it's like, yeah, there's been people that fucked up, and these people you don't want to really because they're kind of a problem and all this other shit, keep them out a little bit. But these people, they're cool. I know you even pinpoint, be like, yeah, I'm sure you probably met him before, but this one's all right. He's all right. Yeah, I was like, I'll handle this one. I was a little stranger, but shit. Most booked with them boys. Booked up with my boys. I'm on Alto, so I'm probably gonna get a lot of denial. You're all good. I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Actually, you know what? Here, I outside of my little ramble here, let me actually, just turn that all the way down. What's a good song to listen to, by the way? There's Coffee and a Joint. I'm listening to that. Coffee and a Joint. That sounds like my morning every time I wake up for work. Okay. Sublime like, actually. It's already, yeah. I'm just gonna immediately just save this right now. I literally don't even have to listen to it anymore. This is literally already right up my house. Just right, yeah. How did I have not known about this sooner, bruh? Yeah, this is literally. You know what? I'm gonna listen. Ooh, 4 years ago, Red Rover with Jarvie. Oh, okay. What's this? Bow.
Dear Pop, it was a tough one today for the gang. We got ambushed. Me and Blue, well, who am I kidding? We were down at Benny's fucking hamming. 2 for 1, Pop.
Jesus, this is a ballad. What the fuck, man? This is a music video too? It's already going like hard as fuck. God damn, okay.
Anyway, so big.
Well, whoa, wait, hold the fuck up. Well, I meant to skip it just to be like, hold up, is it like a full ballad? But no, it's not. Well, it went to a whole different level. Hold on, I'm just gonna go right back to where I was. All right, here we are. Okay, here we go. Dude, it's like some ballad shit, but then it immediately goes into like this shit, bro. What's going on, dude? Some Power Rangers shit.
Intergalactic planetary, you had to leave Earth, cause Earth is scary. I head to the moon, that milky dairy, but it gave no fuck. Virgin be like, oh, little sacrilege, you still the strength like game, but we back for business, we rat tat tat on the tracks, you listen, matter of fact, he's back for you get bitten in the rap, that shit back with madness in effect with electric.
Okay, I already literally fucking love this. Dude, what a twist. Literally, actually, unironically, what a twist. I literally thought it was a ballad, and I was kind of like, because I will admit, I'm not the biggest fan of ballads that much. I'm a major stickler about those a little bit. But then it flipped it with this shit. It's a Power Ranger. Oh, I got some people I could show this to, and they would love the fuck out of this. Oh my god. Holy shit. I actually, unironically, I think I have some people I could show this to. Bruh. Dude. I think I have a new artist to be exploring and checking out now. And I have these saved. And you know what? Hold on. What was that Coffee and Joint song? Because I think I'm gonna add that to my playlist. And my work playlist too, because I have a separate playlist for my work. Boom. I'm a horrorcore fans. I mean, well, of all sorts of underground rap. I honestly like the more obscure underground rap is always like, you know, some of the good shit. That's why I love Damage a lot, because she's not like, I mean, she's underground, you know, but she's not like mainstream or anything either. She's underground in the sense of being like a local, like community raised anarcho musician that's like anti-industry. But she isn't the only one that does that. There's been plenty of artists out there that are like, fuck the industry, fuck, you know, this bullshit. Actually, my art should be even played and used by other artists, and they should use my shit and sample my shit. Like, there's artists out there that literally want shit like that, and collaboration, and, you know, mix and remixing and all this other shit. Like, I mean, and, you know, like, from Mojo Nixon to Hazel Dickens to Elvis, you know, to like all these fucking artists, dude. Like, so many of these artists out here in the world, you know, like David Rovix is another one, who also is from Portland, you know, like these artists are literally out here being saying, like, I want people to like sample my shit or cover my shit or make my shit better. You know, sometimes, you know, it's like, hey, I made my art, but someone had like a different, you know, interpretation of that music and wanted to put it their own flair on it. You know what I mean? Or just simply take a genre and, you know, be like, here's my idea of the flair, and I want to maximize and capitalize on it in my way as an artist, and collaborate with other musicians to expand that further. Like, that's the beauty of the creativity about shit like that, and I support that 1,000% to the like cubic fourth power infinity degree, basically. You know what I mean? Like, because shit like that is so fucking important and is so necessary, especially when it comes to music. Like, I mean, music always evolves because of, you know, musicians of the past, right? Like, I mean, and to a certain point, people are going to basically create literally every element of music that can be possibly created. And at a certain point, musicians are just literally, and artists, you know, in that realm are going to basically just be taking different shit from all sorts of other different little things, whether they know or not, and making their own shit out of it. But you know what? That's okay, because you're still creating your own shit, no matter what, even if you don't realize it or not. I mean, that's the cool shit about, like, you know, creating art. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're like maybe taking, you know, something from another artist, you know, from the past, but, you know, yet maybe it's because you have a, you know, similar akin mind about how to create art, and that's a cool thing. In fact, that's something to embrace, in my opinion. Be like, yeah, that should actually be an inspiration, not like a, oh, I need to be that original, bro. It's like, nah, like you can still be original but still have inspiration. And sometimes, especially when it comes to music and other shit, like sometimes it might be kind of difficult to just be that original because of how much, like when it comes to chord progressions and, you know, different beats and rhythms and all this other shit, like for the hundreds of thousands of years potentially of like musical art, like you're not going to be the only one making probably that one particular beat or that one particular chord progression or something. But you know what? You can still make it your own goddamn thing and still make it original regardless. And that's the beauty of art, honestly. Because we can still find our own interpretation, our own way of making that art and making that particular foundation, what that is, into our own. That's something that people need to kind of like learn more, especially artists in certain ways. Like not all of them, but there are times where I've like looked at artists or I've even talked to different artists, and I'm like, you don't really see it that way though. Like, I mean, we take inspiration, we do all the shit in one way, shape, or form. I mean, we gotta at least be inspired in that way while still having the originality of our art. Like, good examples like Mojo Nixon, right? Actually, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna take the Bluetooth off of this shit and then put it on this phone. Because there's actually a good song by Mojo Nixon called Elvis is Everywhere. And you don't think that his ass is really, like being inspired by Elvis as like I have a folk punk artist, and like an outlaw country artist as well, of essentially saying like, hey, Elvis is everywhere. Like, I mean, there's an inspiration of who he is, not just in my music and shit, but also when it comes to, the idea that like he's kind of in everything in a certain extent. That's also a fun song too.
When I look out into your faces, you know what I see? I see a little bit of Elvis.
I see a little bit of Elvis in there. Well, Elvis is everywhere. Elvis is everything. Elvis is everybody. Elvis is in you and me. And also, Mojo Nixon was literally one of these massive advocates as an anarchist himself, saying, like, I want people to, like, take my music and take my shit, because he did the same fucking shit. It's in your jeans. It's in your jeans, burgers. Elvis is in your buddies. Elvis is in your mom. It's everybody. It's the one, the wild, the white, the faded, white, the brown, and the blue.
Elvis is in everybody out there. Everybody's got Elvis in them. Everybody
but it's one person that is. Yeah, one person. You said that Elvis. The anti-Elvis. You know who that is? Kash Patel ain't got no Elvis in him. I hate to say it, but Trump do, because he literally is like so desperately literally trying to be Elvis. He literally made an AI photo of him looking like Elvis. As much as I hate that, he injected Elvis in him. Elvis still the king, but that don't mean Trump is. He forcibly injected that into him. That don't mean he Elvis though. Elvis. Elvis.
Yeah, man, you see guys walking down the street pushing shopping carts, and you think they're talking to Allah?
Talking to Allah or some God or some shit? Nah, they're talking to Elvis.
You know what's going on that Bermuda Triangle? Down the Bermuda Triangle. Elvis needs votes. Elvis needs votes.
Dude, this song is too good. You know, hold on. I need to play another one by this guy. Because you know what? You don't want to know why this guy is so goddamn fucking based? Because he also has this one as a song. This is how I first discovered Mojo Nixon. Burn down the malls. Right off the bat, based. Dude, this one is actually I need to have another one after this one too. Because dude, like Mojo is just too much of a goat. You know what? I love but hate the fact how he died. Because you want to know, like, it was literally like a little like a little cruise specific. It's like a little folk punk cruise. That was also, I think, not to his name, but at least, similar to it. He passed away in 2024. But here, let me look that up real quick. He died from a heart attack or cardiac event on February 7th while on board the Outlaw Country Cruise docked in San Juan in Puerto Rico while he attended as a performer and a host, and he was 66. 2 days later, James Van Eaton, who he portrayed in The Great Balls of Fire, also died. Goddamn, really? Whoa, that's a little wild. I never knew that. That's insane. That wasn't added to it until I just looked that up. James Van Eaton? Really? Oh, yeah, February 9th. What? Wow, that's kind of wild. Among the memorial events held in honor of Mojo Nixon, it was an all-day concert in Austin, Texas, in March 2024 during the South by Southwest Festival, or the SXS Damn. Oh wait, hold on. But you can't buy beer.
Master Charge.
Wait, hold on. I need to skip back a little bit. Because, dude, this is why this guy goes so hard.
It's a whole bunch of it. You know what Reagan finally gets the war he's looking for.
Looks like Trump's getting the war he's looking for.
You think he's going to be drafted 21-year-olds?
Oh, you Bluetooth cunt.
Buy beer. Can't buy
You Bluetooth
beer.
cunt.
Get married and screw yourself up real good. Can't buy beer. You can charge $8 million on the master charge.
God damn it.
Can't buy beer. You can vote for one fool or another. But you can't
Buy beer.
Because this
It's America. America is the most common denominator. The money. You do this to yourself, Mojo. How many things how juice did you sell? Huh? Come on, sugar. Feel it. Feel it. Yeah. Burn down the malls. I mean, dude, this is what country should be about. Like, dead fuck ass. Burn down the shopping mall, burn down the shopping mall. Oh, come on. You're plugged in, you cunt. It does that at least one more time when it plugs in, so it should probably... Ooh, you expect so shit?
You want to decide what you read, what
What you
watch,
want? What you listen to? Oh no. Oh, Mr. Stephen Miller. Oh, Mr. Tipper Ford. Let me tell you, get it off the floor. That's how you're up in the shop mall. You're gonna drugs. A little war on drugs.
We ought to have a war on war, suckers. We ought to have a war on
That's just American. Mall. Dominating children. Hell. Dude, this song goes just too fucking hard. I know it's on my playlist, but god damn, I wish it would play more often on my playlist because this shit needs to be played a lot more often. I feel like people need to learn a little bit more. But you know what also? Do you hate Banks too? I hate to cut it off a little bit in the end, but that is also the end of the song too anyway, so. You better know a little bit. I hate Banks, just can't stand them. Bring me shovel, man, I'll plant them. 6 feet under is where they belong. I hate Banks, his name is Song. They got rifles at 102. I hate Banks, well, how about you? Ow, ow. Well, give me a nickel, give me a dime. You go hard, serial time. Financial institutions think they're so highfalutin. This my goose to do this to them. To steal all my loot. I tell in my rank. I couldn't be their stinking bank. There's a darker speech. Real street can't fuck my meat. Ooh. Ow, ow. All that is a temple. Harry Banks is just that simple. Down, you know what to do.
Now let me tell you people something.
God, this
Only banks I like,
this stupid
I like
goddamn.
Earth banks, all right. And I like the banks of the Mississippi River.
Okay, why is this fucking crap?
And I like banks of
Open,
Twin
you bitch.
Reverb. Electric guitar amplifiers behind it. Raging on the stage. Yeah.
Finally open it up. Jesus Christ, it took way too much effort. Like a dog, leaving in the head like a blue log. Republicans, you want it all there. Records are mighty small. They're going poor and give it to the rich. Makes it twitch in the ditch. Or make the president twitch in the ditch. Temple, the hair, even life stare. There's my excellent ideas. Let's get card after me. Oh, Sal Jones to be up some else. Sal Jones can suck my dome. Yeah.
All right. Everybody say these three magic words. I want you to help me say the words. I want you
Dude,
to
this is
repeat
why
them.
Mojo Nixon's just a goat. This is what real country literally was supposed to be about. Hank Williams, Mojo, Cash. This is country. Bye, hey, Banks. Yeah, Poppin' might be it too. You know, maybe Dr. Pimple Popper should probably take a hint or two. One or two. Hey, Banks. So how about you?
Now let me tell you something else.
I actually do literally unironically hate banks because credit unions are where it's at. If anything, if you got a credit union bank, that exists, go for that. Fuck the banks. Fuck them all. You know what? Also, fuck Flock too. I'm gonna climb up that pole and break it down and stuff like that. Oh no, I ain't paying for that shit. I ain't gonna be securely surveillanced all night. No, it'd be such a shame if that copper and gold got sold. Oh no, because Mojo would totally approve of it too. And also, he was a raunchy fuck too, because he has songs also named like "She's Vibrator Dependent." Where the Hell's My Money, which that's a really awesome song. And then he also has, what else? He's got a lot of good ones. Ain't No Boss, UFO, Big Rigs and Barbecue, which is, that's a fucking awesome one. Ain't Gonna Piss in No Jar, which is actually a song about Nancy Reagan. Which, you know what, we'll play it too, because fuck Nancy Reagan. Because she needs to sip that old piss jar if she wants to, drug test everyone for a little war on drugs. Thanks, Reagan. And shocker, Trump, took all the advantage and masked off everything that Reagan literally nested the seed for. Ugh. Because Michael's king of pop and Elvis king of rock, so nah, I don't think they ever did. Honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if Michael Jackson said that it was partly inspired and sees Elvis as inspiration. Actually, you know what? Might as well look it up. I don't think they ever clash. I don't see why they would. Michael Jackson respected Elvis Presley as a massive entertainment icon and historical pioneer of music, but he did not view Elvis as a direct musical and personal inspiration. That's at least, the main result. Later in life, Michael Jackson also grew to intensely focus on the parallels and their unprecedented levels of fame and the tragic plight of their lives. So I guess there was a point, which there is at least something that shows an article that, expand on that, but at least there I guess Michael Jackson at least, kept him in his mind a little bit as a sense as a not as an inspiration, but at least as a pioneer for the music that he did, but didn't necessarily seeing him as an inspiration, but at least, seeing him as a pioneer for what he was, which that's valid and makes sense. And it sounds like he also, legitimately, probably saw a parallel to his own life, in comparison to his own, to Elvis's as well. So, I mean, that's probably maybe where it comes from, but definitely no clashing at all. And if anything, at least, Michael Jackson fundamentally respected him. Mr. Nancy is gonna drink it. No, 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 It's in no jar. I ain't gonna piss it in no jar. I ain't gonna piss it in no jar. I will say, when I have the job that I got now, I will say this much: my boss literally did not even give me a drug test, and what's even hilarious, the times that he's told me his stories when he used to live in Louisiana and shit like that, for Mardi Gras and stuff. He's a bit of a wildcat. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just like, oh my god. The substances and drugs he has admitted to telling me he's done, I'm just like, no wonder you don't do drug tests. I'm like, no wonder you don't do that shit, because, like, oh my god. Like, you obviously were a wild card for a minute there, dog. Like, Jesus. Here, I got at least another little song, This is more of the country vibe mojo, but also one of my favorites too, and probably one of the more legitimately like leftist outlaw country songs that are out there. I will not die. If anything, I'll probably let this at least be the wrap up song, and then I'll get myself some food and shit. But we'll still hang around though. Gotta take off, but we'll see you next time. Yeah, of course, Erica. You have a good one. Yeah, what's up? Let's come. Never go to the gates at dawn. Sing the full song. You can't kill me. I will not die. Not now, not ever, no never. I'm gonna live for a long, long time. My soul lives on forever. Oh yeah, Erica's always been a cool vibe. You know what's hilarious is that I modded Erica literally the same night that they popped on my stream, just because they were just a vibe. And literally because of my liquid courage, I was like, you know what? I trust you. You're cool as fuck. I just did it. I will say I need to be a little bit more recluse about my mods, because I'm having too much. I literally have like a literal like battalion or like a division worth of mods. I need to like have like kind of a ref sheet for them at this point. I have too many now. But you know what? I need like all of them scattered around different ways. Like I can't just like have them all at one time of day or night or whatever. You know, they need to be They need to be like, you know. I need, like, you know, my division to be, like, 24/7 almost, you know what I'm saying? It's just that, like, too many of them are, all at one time. We're gonna bounce, right? Oh my god. Come on, bounce correctly. Wait, what's the charge? You know what? Charge is good enough. I think this. There we go. There we go. There we go. My charge is at 69 giggity. So we're just going to stick it there. Oh. Mm.
People out there want to ban books. They want to ban my records. They want to tell me when I can drink and what I can drink. They want to ban drugs and sex and everything. People want to have a lot of rules.
A lot of rules and oppression and regulations.
Listen up, Mr.
Mr.
Rules and
Trump.
Regulations. I ain't gonna obey it.
I mean, fundamentally.
What you say? Oh, you put me in jail?
You kill me, you execute me, but you can't kill this bro, man. I'm just saying it ain't getting any more fucking McDonald's either.
I ain't gonna eat it no more.
Or Taco Bell because of the, or Tyson-based vegetable products because of the parasites, because of RFK Jr. You know, like, conservatives love to take this info and be like, yeah, cover it bad, but no. You don't even realize. You don't even realize.
You know, people say, Mojo, you're always complaining about everything. Why don't you vote in the election? Why don't you become involved in the electoral process?
Maybe you should take this hint.
Oh, yeah. Vote
Yeah.
for Clinton, Mojo, to make everything nice.
Or vote for
and
Sean.
good.
Yeah, it's I mean, nice to
One
know.
fool,
One fool.
just as big a
One
fool
fool,
as the other
yeah, fool.
Ain't nothing changed. Same fools riding around in the black
In
cars.
cars.
We still
We
riding
turn
around
around
in
to
the
the
subway.
subway.
Riding around
And
in
then
the
see
bus.
us.
We riding
Run
around
around
in
the
the
Sebastian
1978,
Street.
you know,
In
1978
El
El
Camino or some other thing.
Leaking
We
oil, ain't got
always
no
have
money.
money.
Gotta
With
pay
big
taxes,
taxes,
everything's
ain't screwed up. I ain't gonna take no more. I'm gonna start an armed insurrection.
We're gonna
We're gonna enter West Virginia. Just raise guns from the National Armory and battle Blair Mountain. Armed revolts sometimes. If you can bets and the time series, disassociate yourself from ties of bide. Visit your sides. Oh, and I'm gonna bust them up.
So there I am,
So I am,
standing around a campfire,
Hills, West Virginia. Shoot up high. Yeah, it's really good.
You're like streaming and staying up late. Like, you're the goat of that. Like, I've never met somebody who does it every fucking night. Like, every fucking night.
Well, I'm wrapping it up with a good bow, man. I'm literally wrapping it up with this shit because people need to hear it. After this, I'm danking out and having a food coma. But my soul live on forever, right? I will not die, my soul. No. Been a lives where they're like the mods all join again ever since. It's just like, oh no, there's like 50 mods that joined. Yeah, well, that's also kind of why I try to, I'm trying to avoid that now. Because, I mean, I look at people that are cool as fuck, and I kind of want to, like, in a way, make sure it's easier to remember them outside of just, like, a PFP or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, so I do kind of have a propensity to be like, oh, you're chill as fuck. Let me mod you at least a little bit so I can at least remember you kind of thing or some shit. And it's like, yeah, because there's plenty of cool ass motherfuckers, but not everyone needs to be a mod. I don't need to literally have like a legion of them. A battalion or like a division, sure, but like, I don't need like a fucking whole army of them, But, am I done? Oh, I got a little last sippy poo of this and last little bow. This is a perfect little bow. Just as intended. So, you know what? I'll say. Won't be the last, of course. But, we'll at least, put a bow for this one. Because, hey, you know what? Our soul will not die. And we'll live on forever. But, you know what? We'll be here for that next one, right? It just like every other time, it'll always be a good time. But anyway, with all that being said, peace the fuck right on now. You don't have to go home, but you don't have to stay here because you can't.